난 그냥 할 거야. 내가 하고자 하는 거 그냥 할 거야. 내가 하고 싶으니까. 그냥 계속 할 거야.
Everybody wants to love, so you need someone you adore. Wonder why it took you so long to find a place where you belong. Not a day goes by that you'll redo. And the stars in the sky, all the waters in the oceans, like the moon, you're pulling me in. And I feel so damn lucky to have you in my arms again.
So won't you stay a little longer with me? It's laid out how I love your company. So won't you stay a little longer with me? It's laid out how I love your company.
Thank you. Hope to see you soon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. This is Nüfly session 44. We are here at you. It's a beautiful day here in San Francisco. For any of our new listeners, anyone kind of tuning in today, Nüfly, we are the fine line between a dream and reality. One of our goals here at Nüfly is to kind kind of help the modern artist rediscover or realize any lost motivations they may have had during their journey. So we have a very exciting episode for you guys today. It's one of our friends also. And just for quick introductions, my name is Daniel. I'm the art director here at Nüfly. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Dakfu. I'm going to hand the microphone over to Belinda.
Hey guys, what's good? I'm Belinda, also known as Zen Rabbit. I'm the editor-in-chief and video director here at Nüfly, and really excited about today's show, man. Matt's working on a secret project with us at the moment, so definitely had to highlight him and put him on. So thanks for joining, and I'm gonna pass the mic over to Kaz now.
What's up, y'all? Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. Speak Proper signing on with y'all. Really grateful and thankful for always having a crazy amount of like guests and stuff. And this week's no different. And definitely excited to deep dive with this his process. And let's get it. Let's get it, Mr. Hong.
Pew pew pew.
Matt, what's good?
What's going on?
What's up, Matt? Actually, Matt, do you want us to call you by Matt or Mr. Hong during this stream? I was gonna ask. I abide by your rules, man.
Let's do Matt. We'll keep it simple.
Keep it casual.
Okay. Keep it casual. Nice. Matt, welcome to our stream. We're super excited to host you. We've been following your work for quite a minute too, and from what it seems, dude, especially from like your Spotify year raps, it seems like you're doing really well and like even better as the years progress. Although we're kind of familiar with your work, Matt, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of give an introduction to any of our viewers that may be new to like what you do, what kind of sound you create. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Perfect. Thank you. So my name is Matt. I go by the artist name Mr. Hong, which is actually my last name. And my dad and I share the same name in some sense. I started making music probably back in junior year of high school. Back then I was trying to find how to open up Microsoft Word and stumbled across GarageBand and learned a lot about how to, put sounds together. And I would say my style of music is definitely kind of lo-fi, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of trap, a little bit of electronic. I think
he's got some trap, dude, for sure.
I do got some trap.
He's got some trap. He's got some fire trap mixes. Y'all need a peek.
Yeah.
Want to hear all the bangers.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's all about range for me. If it's something that I fuck with, something that I like, that'll usually influence my sound. So I think
the Burn Cartel one, Shuffle 4. Play that shit if you're looking for trap.
There's some trap in there. There's some
there's some good shit
R&B.
in there. Yeah, sorry, last time I interrupted.
No, it's all good, Belinda, keep it up. And yeah, because like you're bringing up like mixes from like years back that I don't even remember. But yeah, so I'd say that really influences my style. To me, music is how I take note of my memories, right? It's, akin to a photographer taking photos, or instead of a photo book or a scrapbook, I have my music and my albums. And so if you go back to one specific song that I made like 3 years ago, it reminds me of exactly that time 3 years ago, right?
Well,
so
time traveling.
Yeah, exactly. Did you guys
Do you
watch
believe
Tenet
in time
yet?
travel? Oh.
Do I believe in it? Yo, so my girl and I, we're watching Lost right now.
Nice.
And no spoilers, right? I will try not to spoil anything. But yeah, they go into time travel a little bit, and I gotta say, like, the logic side of me is like, this can't happen.
That's me.
But there's a part of me that's like, I kind of want it to happen.
That's also me.
Because yeah, you're like, it'd be dope as hell to like time travel. Obviously, like people say, oh, the thing you're gonna do, you're either gonna kill Hitler or like find out what tomorrow's lottery numbers are.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I would just go back and like try and like see what life was like when my parents were in Asia. That would be like the thing I would want, is like, how did my parents have their upbringing? Because like
how'd they meet?
yeah, exactly. That would be crazy. Like I'm just
like you're just seeing them.
Yeah,
like
seeing
live.
them like me for the first time. I know they met at a wedding, but like, yeah, that would be nuts. I think just getting to take a couple steps in their shoes, right?
Is it more so to witness like that actual situation happening where your parents meeting? Because as we know, like time travel 101, you can't disrupt anything in the past because it would snowball into something, or like the butterfly effect, into something bigger in the future.
I would definitely just witness, because I think I wouldn't want to change anything about, I don't want to like fuck up, imagine I like step in and then all of a sudden I start to disappear. Then I'm like, oh fuck, I fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely just want to be a fly in the wall. And
Same,
with that
dude,
experience,
same.
like I don't want to alter or change.
I don't want to fuck up the mother nature, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
But real quick, we actually all just watched Tenet together. It was my suggestion during our Nüfly retreat, where it was just 4 of us.
That was so traumatizing, by the way, because we
I know
let
what's
out with
going
that
on.
with Drumline. We were watching Drumline, Nick
Prior
Cannon.
to-
What the hell?
Like,
Yeah.
and then we
That
go
was
into
double
Tenet, like the opening scene of Tenet. I'm like,
Dude gets shot. He's
what? Yeah, it's like Orlando Jones got shot in Drumline all of a sudden. Like,
Let's keep some spoiler free.
Yeah.
It's
It's
super
the, it's,
new
the,
right
it's
now.
the first minute, so.
Yeah.
it was traumatizing. It was traumatizing. And we had like a small TV, but I brought my Rocket 8s, right? So
It
we
was
had like
fucking loud.
IMAX experience level of the
on a
sound
tiny-
design
on a tiny TV.
screen.
I'm really trying not to spoil it, but the first gunshot, I was standing like ear level to the monitors.
Cass
And he's-
had gone off the couch and was like, "Oh shit, this is a Christopher Nolan film. Like, I better pay attention to this,
Scooting
right?"
up close,
And he's like
you know?
scooting up to the screen, and then like bang, the first scene. I'm like,
These are Rocket 8s. We
Yeah,
we
not
brought
messing around.
2
I
Rocket
think
8s.
my eyes twitched a little bit, but no. All in all, like the whole movie, I think like, to give Nolan a little credit too, like I feel like he's one of the few directors that can really come up with an original script and concept and really get the budget behind it. I just think this one kind of fell short to Inception, primarily
and
because-
Memento too. Like,
Yeah.
kind of, like
It's very,
Memento's
like-
a mind fuck, but I can follow Memento. Tenet
Yeah.
was like, what is happening right now?
He went for it.
He really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Shush.
He did.
He went for it. That's
Yeah.
good.
We like had to Google,
Exactly.
like the actual timeline of things that happened.
Yeah.
And then like after like 30 minutes of we went to the drive-in at Concord to watch it.
Nice.
On our way back, we were just like looking at all the theories and like there's like so much timelines and shit. And
Yeah.
we're like, and then like immediately we were like, oh yeah, now it makes sense. Like, but it was just so good to see a movie again.
Oh no,
Like
man!
something fresh,
Especially
right?
Drive through, yeah. I'm sure, especially Nolan movies, you need to see that on the big screen. You gotta absorb all the details. But
Yeah.
We got all the sound design though.
yeah, chat.
Yeah, them
Sound design is
rockets.
crazy.
Yeah, the more I kind of sit on it, it would be a movie I would recommend, but I also would kind of like add a little asterisk that it might be a type of movie where you watch like 2 to 3 times to like fully get it, or you go like us on Reddit or Google afterwards just to figure out like exactly what's going on, because it's a really ambitious.
It's ambitious. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very. It was fucking ambitious.
Yeah.
Tenet explained.
Yeah, that's probably like top 10 Google search of 2020
Like trending
right
and shit
there.
right now.
Probably.
Yeah, for sure.
But despite time travel and all that, today's episode we are here to talk about Matt and his journey. So Matt, just kind of like diving straight into it. I kind of want.
I have a quick question. Hold up. Where did the name Mr. Hong come from?
Oh,
like,
nice.
that's like a teacher name, right? Are you a teacher? Mr.
No.
Hong?
It's a good question because like believe it or not, actually back in like this is actually even earlier than that, probably in eighth grade. To pull it all the way back, talking about time travel. In 8th grade, a friend of mine, shout out to Priscilla, we came up with like our own artist personas. So my first actual like stage name was, this is gonna be cringe as hell, but it was DJ Bounce.
Hey.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
I
got
like
the
that.
bounce.
Actually,
Yeah, you got the bounce.
Bounce.
And
like
then
Yeah, at
I
least I know what I'm about to expect.
exactly. But then I swapped it probably in 10th, 11th grade to Mr. Hong because it was like an easy name for me. I didn't want to use my first name or my full name. And actually, yeah, I just kind of stuck with it. There was no real like thought about it. I just didn't want to use my first name. That was all. And I wasn't really creative enough to think of like a different name. Obviously DJ Bounce. I tried, and so I was like, yeah, that name's not gonna work. Because it had
You weren't
nothing to
feeling
do with
right.
my music. It didn't feel right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mr. Hong just felt, normal. I like how Belinda, you mentioned like it being kind of like a teacher thing. I didn't think of that at all. I don't know if that ever had a thought about it, but to me, it just felt more so that I wanted to pick a name that was still true to myself. I didn't want my artist to really deviate from who I actually was and am. So Mr. Hong allowed me to keep keep part of my life anonymous, right?
Yeah.
So I can live my own personal life, but still, it's still a little bit more slice of real in terms of who I am.
Nice.
Nice.
It's got part of your name in it. You're carrying your family's name. It's not just you.
There's a little mystique behind it too, because it's kind of like ambiguous. Just Mr. Hong, like Mr. Hong can be anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
If you look me up on Google, like the sixth search result is like a Chinese restaurant in Gilroy. So I mean, I've yet to go.
Collab?
You know,
Potential
collab. We got to do some sort of crossover or something.
That'd be
Play,
fire
like,
merch.
Yeah, play
man.
a set like right next to like the buffet line or something. You know,
outdoor dining. You know.
yeah, for real.
That'd be
Buy
a
the
vibe.
t-shirt.
That's a big vibe, man. Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of want to enter our conversation by kind of prefacing this. I know like 2020 has been a really, difficult year for a lot of us, especially for us kind of like in the gig economy, or even like people like doing like live events, like anything where there's like a lot of people involved, just due to COVID-19, like everything has kind of like, it really kind of reshaped our lifestyle. Yeah, and I know kind of like in the beginning stages, like a lot of us were like, oh, it's gonna be like 1 or 2 months, and then as 1 or 2 months go by, it doesn't seem like anything is kind of changing, and then kind of like anxiety kind of picks up through actually a lot of us, but more so when it kind of affects your pocket a little bit, it becomes really kind of troubling. Our team really felt this kind of going through, and the way to kind of like get around this or kind of like cope with it, we actually created a care package out of this, which was very successful. But I wanted to ask, how has your mental health been lately? Has there been anything you've been kind of like including into your routine to kind of like help you get back into shape whenever, if you're still feeling into a slump, like what do you do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, granted, so I'll give a little bit more of a personal background on me. So my older sister passed away last year, and she was like really to me like a beacon of, direction, right? Anytime I had a question, anytime I had an anxious thought, or anytime that I had, an issue, she'd be the person that I would turn to, and like she really directed me. So even before COVID became a thing, anxiety and depression, these things started to, kind of multiply a little bit more for this year. And then, kind of COVID just kind of exacerbated that whole thing as one thing, right?
Damn,
so thank you though. It was, real sudden, but I'm glad that she, to be honest, I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, like she was sick for a while. I remember you took like time off from Salesforce to like take care of her.
Yeah, and I'm glad she didn't have to like witness what's going on right now. And I'm sad that she didn't get to see Biden get elected, because she would have been so happy about that, right? To finally see Trump out of office. Not to make this political, but like,
please,
there are so many things. Yeah, for real.
FDT.
Yeah,
Fuck
FDT.
him,
I'll make a lo-fi remix of that shit.
Don't just say that, Matt. You're gonna.
Yeah. Well, hey, tune in for the next hour.
Fuck Donald Trump, Mac Miller, Mr. Hong edit.
And you need help releasing.
Yeah, bass boosted. So I mean, mental health has definitely been a struggle for me this year. It's been rough just having to deal with a lot of things. But to me, music has always been that one thing that hasn't really brought me a lot of stress. And I'm kind of doing it for the most part as a fun thing and as a stress reliever.
Nice.
Of course, I'm also, taking therapy. I'm lucky to have, a very supportive girlfriend that I live with. We take long walks, right? We get to talk and, just bounce ideas off. And, if she's having problems or I'm having problems, we're able to kind of talk them through, right? And my parents are pretty local, right? They're always a phone call away. And I know, again, right, it's really hard, to be in the mindset that, being a parent and, having one of your children, pass away and move on in this world. But, we've been trying to keep each other, in contact, right? Being compassionate and, just spending time with one another, even though it's difficult, given COVID and the restrictions, right? And obviously I don't want to pass anything to them, but, we've been talking, we've been a lot closer since then, and I think that's really has been the biggest part of keeping my mental health intact, is like having that support group. Even though we can't physically meet, we're still able to, you know, hop on the phone and talk on Zoom.
More intentional.
Yeah, exactly. And
Silver
in fact,
lining.
I think that's something that we didn't really have beforehand, right? Even with no restriction. And I've been in the Bay for like pretty much my entire life. My parents are down in Fremont, but back in college, I probably only saw them like once every 3 months, right?
Yeah.
And now I think I'm even more closer to them than I've ever been, even though I can't see them as much as I want to physically, right?
Yeah.
So that's been helping a lot. And of course, just creating things. I think it's awesome. And I appreciate so much that you guys were able to, you know, put me on and slot me in, right? You know, at the end of the year.
Hey, thanks
right?
for letting us get you in, dude. Like,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
dope.
no problem.
What are you talking about?
I'm just glad, because, you know, it's always, this was something that I wanted. I set myself up, like, usually I don't do this, but this year I set out like some goals that I wanted to do for 2020. This is before COVID and everything, right? One of them was really to support, you know, other people's creative passions and really help build that network. So doing things like this, I'm all ears for and always willing to help out, because that's also what has been helping my mental health too, is just being able to see other people grow, right?
Yeah.
And not try to focus too much. And that was actually the kind of the reason why we did Cafe PM, was it was a chance for us to, you know, and we can talk about it a little bit more later, but it was a chance for us to, you know, help artists that, you know, either I was friends with or knew, and trying to just give them more of a spotlight and more of a chance to shine, and put more light towards that versus, you know, what me and Annie Pastels, my collaborator, were working on for that project. That's always been kind of my goal for this year.
Dang, that's amazing, man. Well,
Dope.
Yeah, Matt really shows up for you, man. Like, cause like you pulled up to the office last year, and then we had like that dank ass dinner. Where do we
Oh
go?
yeah, Farmhouse Thai, dude.
oh, that place is
Farmhouse
bomb.
Like,
Thai.
we
Shout out to
just
Farmhouse
went
Thai.
off. We bought like, dude, we ordered everything.
Ooh.
We're like, let's just
The platter?
Yeah, dude. We just ate as much as we could. We're like, let's just treat ourselves. Like, who knows when we can do this again? So I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we did that.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, like, that's one thing that I'm always appreciative for, is like, even back in like February, March of this year, and actually in January of this year, to like literally 11 months ago, my girlfriend and I, we went on like a 3-4 week trip to Barcelona in South Africa.
Oh,
Wow.
So we just like dipped, and we were so glad that we could, like, right before everything started closing. So like, I'm eternally grateful for being able to do that. You know, just
I gotta
having
ask you
those
about
moments,
Barcelona.
you know? Oh man.
We were supposed to go this year, but you know, everything. But
Yeah.
Damn.
that's like a bucket
Dude.
list place to go.
Oh, it's
Real,
so nice, man.
like, so the architecture there by Gaudi?
Mhm.
How do you
Yep,
say it?
Gaudi.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's
I don't know.
so beautiful. Like, it's like that city's like made for you to chirp in and walk around and like just stare at the art.
Pretty photogenic too.
Real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Beautiful, great food, bomb food.
Mm-hmm.
What's the weather?
A lot of tapas. A lot of
Weather?
bomb tapas.
Oh yeah, dude, tapas. Don't even get me started. The weather's kind of similar to here. I mean,
Like
when
the
we were
Bay?
there in January, it was pretty chilly. Like,
Is this like by the water and stuff?
yeah, it was like 40, 50, but they have beaches there, so I'm imagining it gets pretty nice.
Or what year did you? I mean, what time of the year did you go to?
We went in January, so it was winter time
it's
there.
wintertime.
Wintertime.
But it was yeah.
Yeah,
You're
but no
from the
snow,
Bay, so-
nothing. Yeah, but when we went to South Africa, it's their summertime there, so
Oh,
it was
shit.
like 80s every day, beautiful.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? That's sick.
Damn, that's awesome. I'm glad you mentioned, you know, like just some of the things or some of the tools that have been helping you during these times, where like your family and music. I know even coming from like an Asian kind of background, like music isn't always like a preferred kind of like thing for us to kind of get to as a full-time thing. If we pitch it to our parents, you know, it's like, oh, I'm just doing it on the side, you know, it's like, oh yeah, of course you got your day job, you know.
Yeah.
But since we're speaking about family and everything, can you tell us and kind of bring us back to maybe like your early days? I know you were mentioning high school, but maybe even before, what was your first exposure to music that got you kind of like sparked into like, oh, this is something that I'm actually very curious about? And maybe how old were you around that time, and kind of bring us, you know, along like your story of like what got you into where you are right now from the beginning.
Sure. So my parents took me to piano classes like a lot of my schoolmates and a lot of my friends were going to. But I was a pretty
dude, same.
Yeah, like I can't think, like basically everyone in my class like either played piano, violin, flute. There was like a couple guitar players, but they were like considered, you know, like the outcasts in this sense. Yeah, but
Rock and roll.
yeah, for real. Like I was like kind of envious. I was like, damn, I kind of want to learn how to play drums, and you know, like, but it would be like way too fucking loud in our house to play it. But yeah, so I learned piano up until about 16 or 17. That's probably when I stopped taking classes. And I'll be honest, I was like kind of a shitty kid. I totally was like, I did not want to listen to my parents or any sort of authority. So I wouldn't take those classes seriously. Yeah, I mean, if you can believe it, I was kind of rebellious about it. So they would sign me up for these classes, and like I would like really like lazily do assignments and like not really learn anything. It wasn't until like I got into, you know, like I was mentioning, of just opening GarageBand and like starting to fuck around with loops, that I was like, oh shit. I think my problem was like I didn't enjoy playing other people's stuff, but I really enjoyed creating my own things.
That's a rarity too. I feel like it's the opposite for most people. Like they'll do covers before they can figure out how to do original music.
Exactly.
Yeah, which I guess is a little strange, right? Like I just didn't enjoy. Maybe it's just also time period. I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, dissuade people from learning about classical music. I think it's beautiful, and you know, the right time and place. Like I love going to see a symphony or seeing an entire orchestra play something. But for me, it just didn't really sync up very well. Just learning about, you know, like Baroque pieces, like, you know, Mozart
era,
and
romantic.
That's just like very
I do love romantic
structured.
music,
Me too.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
Because
era,
like,
for sure.
yeah, I had to like learn. I went up to like the 5th level and I passed the theory test, right? But all that shit is like, it has to be like perfect to the T. Like the metronome, if the piece calls for like 132, you have to play at 132 exactly. You have to play everything exactly right. Like there's no room to play around. It's not like jazz, you know, where you can experiment. Like there's room for experimentation in classical music.
For sure. I think that's the key thing, is like, and why I gravitated towards jazz and kind of some more of that free form music is it allowed me to play at my own rhythm, my own speed, and not have to kind of be constrained. And I think this also just ties back to me being a rebellious kid too, right? It's like, why do I got to do this thing that this guy wrote 100 years ago? You know what I mean? Like, dude,
what does he know about life?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's really where I got my start of like just trying to make my own music. And really that's when I got more interested in piano, where I got more interested in, you know, sound design and sampling. I actually started learning like, you know, how to make boom bap beats, right? Like I was heavily inspired by like Dilla, Nujabes, even a little bit of Timbaland too, but like just more of those like soul
You were
samples.
DJ Bounce, bro?
Yeah, dude, that's
in your roster for DJ Bounce.
Yeah, for
man.
sure.
If you're going by DJ Bounce early on.
I love that.
Yeah. So I was definitely influenced by a lot of just those type of percussion and drums. I think watching like Samurai Champloo as a kid was definitely also a turning point. My sister put me onto that, and like just anime in general.
Nujabi's soundtrack that show too, right?
Nujabes, Fat John. I think who else was on
Shinji
there?
02.
Yeah, Shingo 2.
Yeah, I think
some other people.
Tushi was the other one.
Shingo
I was supposed to see him
02.
too, but he had a show in SF, but then it got canceled, obviously. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I actually saw they had like a showcase. They came from Japan a couple years ago, and I saw them at the Regency. They were dope.
Oh, nice. I remember I saw the flyer for that. I just didn't have time to make it that day.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like a huge turning point. I think was just getting more involved. Like, of course, I would like get into like hip hop and rap and R&B, but there was a point where I started listening more to music, not for like the lyrics and, you know, the vocals and the melodies, and more so listening to the production, right? Like, I'm, you know, specifically like if I listen to like a Neptunes produced track, I'd be like, how'd they get the bounces to, you know, sway like this? You know, how do they get the drums like this? How do they get the percussion like this? And I think that also helped me get more into music production and away from kind of just playing piano, and learn more about the other side, right, of learning about rhythm and all that. So
Right.
it was definitely like a lot of different sources coming in at once. But yeah, a lot of it stems from a lot of my classical training. I mean, I can't knock that. I think that helped me learn about theory.
Yeah, did you feel like it gives you a good foundation?
Yeah. I mean, I also took the same like theory test that Belinda did, right? And like
That
learning
shit's
about
hard
the
as
circle
fuck,
and fifth.
man,
It's
dude.
math, dude. It's straight up like its own
Yeah.
language and like math, basically, right? You got to know like the formulas and how to like grade intervals and all that. So it was definitely helpful to some degree, but I can't say that like how much it affects me personally compared to listening to music.
Yeah.
Right. And having those ideas kind of just spark up. Because again, like I think my style, and I can show a little bit more about my creative process later, but it's definitely a lot more free flowing, right?
Nice.
I don't have like a regimented way of approaching
Practice.
a track.
Yeah.
And to practice. So that's what I would say about that.
Nice. I did note that some of like your earlier artworks that you had kind of reminded me of there's some kind of like East Asian film influences. Can you tell me like where that maybe kind of like where you were kind of influenced for that, or what kind of sparked your interest in terms of your early aesthetic, right? I think it's very specific, it's very clean, it's very gridded also, but it's very like dreamy also. I'm getting like a lot of kind of like film aesthetics also too. So were there any kind of like Asian cinema that you were kind of like gravitating towards, or that you've seen that influenced your
You definitely
style?
clipped some stuff out from Lost in Translation and 3 Days Off.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was like a really dope EP. I remember playing that one while I was in Nepal and stuff. That was a great like going to sleep, waking up soundtrack.
For sure. So yeah, I mean, back then and even to now, again, like I was mentioning, music again is like kind of my diary, right? And I'm writing music that represents and reflects how I'm feeling at that time. So 3 Days Off, I wrote that after Dreamforce, which actually, Belinda, you know what I'm talking about, but it's like this huge tech conference. You guys probably know this too, that my company that I work for, so I got a day job. I don't do music full time, but they run this every year. It's like a huge tech conference, right?
Huge.
Is that like CES?
That was my biggest payday as a stagehand and stuff in my union was working Dreamforce. Because that shit would like go
taxing.
on. Dude, like my first call was with Dreamforce with my union, and that shit, they kept me for like 10 days straight.
18 hours a day.
It's nuts.
It was long, man. It was long.
Yeah, and Belinda was in like a box.
He
Yeah,
pulled up on me one time.
Yeah, I was like,
year.
yo.
They had me operating one of the booths, but like it was like one of those side like show booths. Like they'll do like little presentations
Keynotes
outside.
and stuff.
So they put me in this like little closet, like with the soundboard and one chair. And then Matt like knocks on the door and was like, yo, you really are in a closet.
It's a mood.
Yeah, it was nuts.
That was fun times.
Yeah, that was like
3 days off?
2016, no, that was 2017. Yeah, so 3 days off was the 3 days of vacation I took after that conference, because like we were
After
like
the madness.
wiped. Yeah, and really and the tracks on there are life, work, and balance, right? So those are the 3 track names. And really that was what I was figuring out at the time, is like I'm spending a lot of time
Working.
at this job working, right? What is that balance piece that I'm trying to find? And I thought it paired really well with Lost in Translation. I watched that movie a long time ago, but just remembering the scenes, right, of like, Bill Murray and ScarJo like talking about, Scarlett Johansson's like, she doesn't know what she wants to do, right? And Bill Murray's like always telling her like, oh, you're gonna figure things out, right? Like even if you're like drawing these pictures or taking photos that don't amount to anything, you'll figure things out. And that's really how I felt. So I think to answer your question, Dan, I worked a lot with, and I was friends with a lot of photographers when I was at Berkeley, who were very inspired by like Wong Kar-wai. That generation of East Asian filmmakers, and so I think that reflected a lot on the artwork, right? For my stuff. And also, I even think that sometimes the vibe that we would get at Berkeley and Oakland just reminded me too of that kind of dreaminess, you know, a lot of neon backed, you know, feelings and like puddles. That inspired me a lot just while I was there. But can't really say there was like an exact like film that really
it sounds like just existing out there, you know. It sounds like you're a very observant person that kind of checks out your surroundings also, and kind of like probably subconsciously reference them. And I can relate. I do that a lot too. Like sometimes when I'm like at a kind of like mental roadblock or like creative block, you know, like I always like just go about my day, and then something like even just being on the Muni staring at like the safety lines, I'll be like, oh shit, like that's sick, you know. But that's really awesome.
Totally.
Really quick, we have a question in chat from Chao Feng. She is asking favorite current anime and soundtrack.
Ooh,
loaded question.
Yeah, so I've definitely been off the anime train for like 8 or 10 years. During quarantine, we try to restart like Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood.
Nice.
I was watching One Punch Man kind of on and off, but I can't say that I'm like the biggest person in anime. Shampoo, I think, is like one of my favorite. That and Cowboy Bebop. I'm just really into the music and
Cowboy
the
Bebop
vibe of it.
Aesthetic.
Yeah, it was like I can probably just like get inspired just rewatching the theme song, right? And just like, you know, with all the silhouettes and everything, and the killer soundtrack by Tank. Soundtrack, if it's anime related, it's probably Shampoo for sure. Soundtracks in general though, I really like the work of Hans Zimmer, Michael Giacchino.
Forrest Gump.
Very epic.
Ooh, yeah, actually, so on my calendar, I remember I was rewatching Forrest Gump. I heard a track and I was like, oh shit, I should sample this. So I made a calendar notification for it, and it just said Forrest Gump soundtrack on it, and
just
then I had like the timestamp. Yeah, so I need to go around and get to that, but I haven't yet. But yeah, I love that soundtrack too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hans Zimmer, man.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer is
The GOAT.
That guy knows how to make a scene for sure.
Yeah, I was so stoked to seeing him was he gonna play Coachella this year or something?
Yeah, he was on there,
a
right?
year before last or something.
Oh fuck! Okay,
I think like
never mind.
2018. I remember seeing that and I was like, the fuck? But it makes sense.
Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, that'd be. I mean, it must be
set?
crazy. I don't give a fuck if he's conflicting with Beyonce. This might be fighting words, but yo, I'm definitely checking out Hans Zimmer. Are you kidding me? Like,
Oh man.
Facts, man. Matt, I know for a lot of our viewers, they're like kind of interested like in diving into music, you know, or maybe have like music stories of their own. But for the people maybe kind of like on the fence about kind of exploring music, what kind of like aside from GarageBand, like I think usual things that would allow people to kind of like dive deeper into something is like purchasing equipment, right? Photography, it'll be your first DSLR, you know, maybe for a music producer, it might be your first like MIDI controller. What was going through your life during that time when you made your first like music equipment purchase, and like what kind of influenced that decision to even like oh, I'm gonna buy this?
Ooh, that is a great question. So I think the first piece of equipment I bought was probably like an APK Mini 25. So they're like these
with the
super
beat pad.
tiny, with
pad.
the eight beat pads on top, right?
Yeah.
Little tiny boy, right? And I think I got it for Christmas. I don't think I bought it myself. I think someone got it for me. Because back then what I was using, like my workflow was just the laptop, right? So I would be using the keyboard. Yeah, drawing shit. Like it was a pain in the ass. So it was good to get some keys.
People get really good at that though.
Yeah, like drawing, like
is that your main workflow?
Yeah. So like some people like Sam Gellatry, he has his whole keyboard like mapped to like certain chords and shit. It's ridiculous when I watch him. But yeah, so I think what triggered that purchase was, I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to test it out at the time, right? Like realized that there was only a limit that I could do with the laptop. Like I wasn't super great at like learning Logic functionality, and I'll go into that. Like I am by no means a Logic pro, no pun intended, but like it's definitely like I'm like there are so many things that I'm learning about it constantly, right? But just having a keyboard I think was great for like ideation. Like it's way harder to
play on
if
feeling.
you come up with a melody, yeah, exactly. Like if you come up with a melody in your head, like it was easier for me to just translate that into keys than using my keyboard and like drawing them out, right? And it just kind of just made the flow a lot better.
Right.
And at that time, I wasn't really serious about making music. I think I probably got it my freshman year at college. So I purchased that, and this was 2013, so 7 years ago. Yeah,
sick.
And it was an easy thing, is because I didn't want to get something too big because I was living in a dormitory at the time, right? And it was just something easy that I could bring around and mess around with and play with. If I wanted to bring it to campus, I could, right?
Yeah.
But I would say my first like legit purchase after that was I upgraded from the 25 to the MPK 249. So it's like the full. It's like,
oh shit, that's the full ass one.
Yeah, it's like it's massive, right?
49 keys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 49 keys.
Oh no, it's 2 octaves, right?
No, it's. Wait, I don't know. Was it the 49? I don't remember. I don't know all those numbers and stuff. But yeah, so I got that my sophomore year, and then that was when I was like starting to compose more like more pieces that required multiple octaves, and it again just was really great for just that creativity stage. And then I think the big turning point was in junior year. I purchased a machine studio.
What is that?
So
it's pretty massive too, isn't it? Is that like a big ass piece?
Yeah, it's a big beat pad. I don't have that with me right here, but yeah, it's like an MPC.
Gotcha.
But through Native Instruments, so they have Native Instruments
software and hardware.
Was there like 16 or 24 pads on that one?
16 on that one.
16,
and that one is crazy too.
The lights
again.
I always love
yeah, that's just fun,
lights
man.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that's when I started getting more into beat making too. And I think, granted, I would say more of it was just for exploration rather than actual, like I can't remember a track that I made solely on a machine or solely on an MPK 249 or on my old 25. But I just remember it helped me, kind of work through the creative process, ideate and kind of iterate on different types of music that I was making at the time. What really spurred a lot of the purchase was like, one, it would be, if I have like a show or I have like break coming up, I'll just buy this on Amazon and then return it after 30 days if I don't like it, right? And of course, like a machine is pretty expensive, right? And like all this stuff is like $300-400, right?
Yeah.
But then I would just end up falling in love with it and just keeping it for
fun.
For a long time. Yeah, because it would be fun. It would be like super stress relieving. I could just make beats and like meet other people that were making beats and just go off, right?
I'm sure you're at school like thinking about that, making beats instead of being in class and stuff.
Yeah, it was funny actually. So I did take like one music class at Berkeley.
Nice.
And I just remember being in the class and like thinking like it may have been one of the most important classes I was taking at my entire time in Berkeley, because like
is it music
I had a really class? It was just theory. And like it was a lot of like repeat stuff that I was learning. I initially just took it because you need to take like like those like
humanities,
to graduate and all that.
Yeah.
But then I realized like my teacher was incredible, right? And she actually had a lot of connections with like local artists and people that I could meet up with, because I was like, kind of just trying to. It's like when you take like intro to Spanish, but you already know Spanish, right?
Like,
and you're just kind of like
you're like Mexican.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just like kind of just like not learning anything, right? But you're just there to get the easy A and everything. That's kind of how I felt in that class, and I didn't want to just do that. I wanted to kind of push myself and learn some more things. So she actually like assigned me some other assignments with people in other classes, so we could like jam out and work on different things. So
that's tight, dude.
Yeah,
people like that.
It was really great. Yeah, those connections.
Teachers.
Nice.
Really looking out.
Shout out. Yep. They were looking out.
What was this teacher's name? Was he a cook shop? You remember?
Okay, I remember her first name was Danielle. I don't remember her last name.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah. Shout out Danielle if you're still there.
Berkeley
Music 20A.
Before we get into our second hour, I do kind of have a question I've been kind of really wanting to ask you, specifically because you make lo-fi music right now. I think personally lo-fi has been residing with people a lot lately, more so because just like the amount of people that are stressed nowadays is like at an all-time high. That lo-fi, you know, beats to study / workout to study or homework.
Workout?
To.
No.
I mean, you can, but that'd be a weird workout.
I work out too.
Study
hit some
to
PBs
or
on
do
that.
homework to. Has been, you know, kind of exploding, you know, that we've been kind of seeing within like the past 2 years. For lo-fi, I think like people are kind of chasing a feeling, right? As listeners, but as producers, you're kind of creating this kind of world and this kind of soundscape that, for me, I feel like comes from the producer inside. With that being said, like, while creating this type of music, like, can you maybe tell us a little about like how you see life, you know, in regards to like, there's clearly a feeling you're trying to like communicate with this lo-fi genre. What is it that, you know, you're kind of seeing that you kind of hope that your listeners will kind of like experience as well too?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Dan. So I tend to think of myself as pretty optimistic, right? Across like all the, you know, negative shit that's going on, I try to always look for that silver lining or that little bit to kind of understand everything as like, if it was something that really makes me upset or sad, that this is a learning moment and a chance for me to grow into, you know, being a new person. So I think it's a great question. I think a lot of people in lo-fi are trying to recreate, you know, either their lowest of lows, right? And if you go on, like, I remember from the very beginning when I first released Long Days, Short Years, which was probably still today my most popular album. And that was like the closest I was to lo-fi, I would say, was around that time, was 2017, right after graduating college. And I was like anxious and had a lot of questions, right? And didn't really have much sense of direction. That's when I made the most lo-fi music, right? To me, it's kind of just like trying to tell people that it's okay to have those feelings and let them know that, you know, I went through something similar. And again, right, with music being my diary, my most popular track of all time so far is one called Bittersweet Chocolate, which I wrote 2 days after ending my relationship with my college girlfriend, right? And so I was like feeling, and this was like about a week before we graduated. So there's like a shit ton of emotions right there, right? Man. Like we're leaving, moving on to something else, but like, you know, she was moving to Boston for a master's program. I was staying here, but she didn't want to do long distance, right? And so these are very common feelings that people have when they're about to graduate or moving on to another part of life. And one of my good friends, Nyun, was saying to me at the time, like, you know, what's life without a little bitter and sweet, right? And I was like, you know, that's such a great quote, right? Like there's all these bitter moments, but you need those bitter moments to really enjoy the sweet things in life, right? Like graduating and like achieving something great. If you're just constantly achieving great things, it lessens the feeling that you get each time. You get desensitized to it. You need kind of those bitter parts and those, you know, kind of saddening pieces to help, I don't want to say like balance you out, but at least make you more grateful for those moments that you achieve the most and, you know, feel the best about, and, you know, what success feels for you, right? So to me, that's what my mind is like when I try to make this lo-fi music. Is I want to put people in a mind space that, you know, it's okay to have those bad days. It's okay to feel these things, but remembering that in the grander scheme of things, that things are going to be all right. My albums usually have a progression where in the beginning and the end are usually the most high energy. And then towards the middle of the albums or the projects, I'll try to make it a little bit more, you know, kind of like a story. There's more conflict, right? There's more minor tones, right? It's a little bit more darker, but I want to end on a happy note that, you know, towards the end, we can kind of bring things back full circle and realize that, you know, this was more a sense of the journey. If you look at the journey overall versus thinking of one pinpointed part, which was your lowest low, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to achieve in my music. I think lo-fi specifically, right? That's definitely the mindscape that people are trying to make. Is, you know, obviously there's the meme out there of being sad boys, right? Of being emotional boys, you know.
Hashtag squad.
Yeah.
Pinocchio in the puddle, face down.
Yeah, fucking dude. and spacing out all of your words, like all that stuff, right? It's a whole aesthetic, but I'm trying to make a little bit more of an optimistic spin on it, right? And remind people that it doesn't always have to be this way. Even through all the negative stuff in my life, I still feel grateful to be alive and grateful to be continuing to be able to do the things that I want to do, right? So I want to pass that message to people that are listening to feel the same way.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Love that.
I had no idea that you had like the Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell like embedded in your album.
Oh, hell yeah. I try to. I mean, I think in Long Days, Short Years, and Midnight a little bit, but more of my full length projects, Cafe AM for sure, right? And also PM, I'd say for sure too. We have that kind of emotional roller coaster in a sense, as we kind of piece the projects together.
Yeah, not like everything you just said, like I think really resided with our team too, because it's something at Nüfly that we're trying to really kind of put in front of everyone, that we understand, like with most of the media consumption that we see nowadays is always kind of like highlights of everyone else, right? Someone's winning over here, someone's doing that, someone got a raise, and like it's very normal, to compare yourself and to kind of drown yourself in those kind of thoughts, but kind of rather than like recognizing those as like bad thoughts and kind of like shoving them away, just that kind of emotional intelligence to try to like recognize what you're feeling and try to live with it and just understand that it's just part of like the human experience, and through that, I think a lot of us have felt kind of like periods in our life where it's just melancholy, like we don't really feel like sad, we don't really feel happy, and not that we're not feeling anything, it's just kind of like
going through the motions.
Exactly. And
going through the emotions, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Beach and Jess. With like there was like a little project that they did where it was like going through the emotions. Like I feel like everyone's going through that right now.
Yeah. But I think specifically, like aside from that mindset, the perfect accompaniment to that is like this lo-fi genre that has been really popping off lately, that I'm glad there's this kind of surgence, because beforehand I'm sure like I'm trying to imagine myself pitching Nujabes to my friends in high school, like, oh, it's this like really organic kind of hip hop, it's really jazz influenced. They're like, oh no, like I'm trying to listen to like some jerkin music or something. But now
high school?
I went to ISA. I went to ISA over in Potrero Hill. Yeah, but nowadays I feel like because so many crazy things have been happening throughout our lives, and like I think the one thing that kind of like brings all of us kind of like together in this experience has been social media, that kind of allowed acceptance for like this lo-fi genre. And I think you really nailed it in regards to like what these listeners are kind of going through. It's basically the motions, and that it's gonna be okay, but it's gonna take time too. Yeah,
exactly. That's the key thing. I think I've definitely grown more impatient during quarantine, right, and during shelter in place, and it's kind of being okay with the fact that there are certain things that I want to do, like travel and be able to travel and tour and like do things like that, but realizing that there's a time and a place, and more so it's about what can I do now to better myself for the future. What can I do for other people, right, to help them, versus just kind of being petty and feeling a little bit
spiteful,
ungrateful, and spiteful for the situation that we're in right now.
Well said. We're gonna take one last question before we move into the second hour from chat.
Sure.
Chao Feng is asking, your approach to change is extremely open. Were you always this way, or was it a journey? And if it was a journey, what influences helped you along? Damn.
Yeah, so
did your sister play like the biggest part up until last year?
I mean, I would say, I think it was two things. Definitely one, it was my sister. Second one, it was totally a journey. Well, to answer your question first, it was a journey. I think I got a lot of second chances in life. Like I said, I was a rebellious ass kid. I didn't do that well in school, like in high school. But what I really enjoyed doing was like extracurriculars, right? Like I played, badminton. I, did acting, and I sang, right? And I was in Boy Scouts, and I did a lot of different things, right? I was very involved in the Chinese community. And so when I got the acceptance to UC Berkeley, I was like, I cannot fuck this up, right? Like if they're already willing to extend an olive branch to me with like my not very good SAT score, not very good GPA, that like I can't mess this opportunity up, right? And I think at that point it was very apparent to me that I was also a very stubborn person, right? Like I just wanted to do things my way, right? But going to some place like Berkeley, right, and meeting so many people with different viewpoints from all around the world, it just opens you up naturally, right? You realize that there's more than one right way to do things, right? Yeah. That there are new ways to approach problems, and I think that was key. And of course, my sister has been really instrumental in helping me, even from, you know, when I was like 3-4 years old, right? And she would take me to the playground versus, you know, back from like last year and so, right? Like she was always there to kind of help me look at things in another perspective, right? She's always been, you know, coming through things with a very empathetic, very compassionate angle, right? And always willing to give people, you know, a second chance. She's that kind of person where she would be saying like, you know, if someone cuts her off in traffic, she'd be like, oh, they probably had to rush to get somewhere, you know, like, and not think of like, this guy's being a complete asshole right now and like, you know, cutting me off in traffic. She'd be like, maybe that guy had to really rush home, or like he's about to get fired from his job and like he needs to be there on time, right? Yeah. And so I think I impart a lot of that knowledge from her, and a lot of her compassion in the way that I view the world now. Is like, you know, people are the heroes in their own story, right? And obviously there could be bad people out there, but for the most part, I think people are trying to do the right thing for them, right? Yeah. And for the people that they love. So it was a complete journey, but I think, you know, 7-8 years ago when I went to college, that's when it started to solidify. And once I left my hometown, it became more real. Damn. Yeah.
I love that.
Just started cheering up just now, bro. I had to like get a tissue.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't know that this was gonna happen.
That's really beautiful to hear, man. And like,
yeah. Meanwhile, Kaz is running around.
He needs a bathroom break.
Yeah.
I'm like crying over here.
Yeah, you can watch the replay. He's gonna come back and you'll be like, what the fuck happened?
I had like a Spirited Away flashback while you were talking.
Oh man.
Damn, Matt, thank you for sharing that story.
No problem. I'm happy to share. Yeah. I think that's the best way to remember her, right? Is just sharing the kind of person that she was.
Well said.
Definitely.
But let's try to switch up the gear a little bit. Matt, we are in our second hour. During our second hour, this is where we have our guests have the opportunity to share their process. And how we're gonna do that, you're gonna share your screen, and however you want to start it, the floor is yours. We are here to be fly on the walls and kind of just bother you while you do your work.
Steam.
Perfect. All right, can you guys see my screen? This is annoying that I can't see y'all though. Oh wait, no I can. All right, I was just joking around.
You got it.
Yeah, this is not my first Zoom party. All right, so I kind of wanted to throw this back to you guys. I have some Logic files that I can go through and kind of walk through my creative process a little bit. But I'll first kick off with this right here. I have like 5 projects that I cleaned up just for you guys. Because I will tell you that on Logic, I'm really, really messy. But I also have to give some credit to Annie. So she goes by the name Pastels, but Annie is my collaborator for Cafe AM and PM. She's down in Melbourne. We met through the Asian Creative Network Facebook group.
Or I'm on that.
I highly recommend it.
I need to go in that.
What the fuck are we doing?
I don't really post on it though.
Chris Chung said he met Hello People on there too.
Oh my god, what is this thing?
It's on Facebook.
Yeah. So it's called ACN, Asian Creative Network, and it's like, think of subtle Asian traits, but like, but not.
But for
no
creatives.
Memes. Yeah, for creatives, no memes, and
There's
people are actually
that exists like this.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty nice. I mean, I met a lot of people through that. That have been helpful, and like it's just a great place to share.
How do you spell it? Asian what?
Asian Creative Network. Shout out ACN. We gotta clip this and send it over to their group. Let them know what we're doing it for the culture.
Yo, there's like 44,000 people in this group.
Yeah, it's a sizable group right there.
Holy shit.
I mean, it'd be a bit soon after.
I better fucking get on this shit.
Yeah. All right, so
group.
Yeah, so join.
Yeah,
I'm not an
doing it
admin, but
right
let me
now, bro.
message
I'm
an
doing it
admin.
right now. I need someone to let me in. This is a private group. Are you an Asian creative? How did you find out about AC?
Oh yeah, they asked some questions, I think. So,
They need that.
well, you
Friends in
got
the
ace
group.
the test. You got ace the test. Don't worry.
How do you
All right.
I plan on participating.
All right, Matt. Floor is yours, bro.
All right, so this is the Logic file. So both me and Annie, we were completely out of Logic. So sorry for our Windows users.
Was that a coincidence, or did you guys happen to agree on a software just to ensure the working files are accessible between you two?
Good question. I will ask Annie on that one, but I think we were both already using Logic beforehand.
Nice.
I think it was coincidence. There's only a handful of producers, I would say, that use Logic. I think a majority either are on Ableton or FL, and then some on like Cubase and Reason and some of the smaller ones. But when you meet a Logic one, it's always a nice surprise, I would say, and it just makes Splice so much easier. For those who don't know, Splice is kind of like a way for you to share projects and collaborate real easy online, as well as a place to get samples and so on. So we would share our projects on here. Anytime I save something here, Annie would get the exact same file copy. So we can just basically collaborate way easier than just sending Logic files back and forth.
What?
Dang.
Yeah,
You
it's
can do that
nutty.
in Logic?
Yeah. So not on Logic, you need to use Splice.
Oh, on
right?
Splice. Sorry.
Is
So
Splice
it's crazy.
for music only?
I feel like I've heard
I
a
think
lot
it's
of music
for
producers
music
use it.
only.
the
So,
most.
and one thing I can show you here too
dope.
is like, it's crazy. You can see all the previous versions of a song that you have, right? So like, for
shit.
example, if you fuck around with something here and like, you're like, oh, I want to go back to a certain version, you can like add a description. Craziest thing,
What?
this is all free. So the
Damn.
studio piece is free, but if you want to use like sounds plugins or something, they got other
Right.
stuff.
Oh,
Option.
yeah.
I wrote-
I have
That's
so many
easier.
credits. It's fucking ridiculous.
Oh, yo, let's make something. No, I'm just
I got like a rack.
What?
incredible.
Well, it's if you subscribe to it, it just keeps.
Oh,
You get-
Yeah,
one
if
of
you
those
don't use
things-
them.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
use them, man.
oh man.
And I only
Yeah.
get like one at a time because like I just get what I need. But
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll explain. So this is the title track of our most recent project, Cafe PM. It's called Dice in the Rear View. It's completely instrumental. I wouldn't consider this really lo-fi, and I think for Cafe PM, we definitely took a step in a different direction.
nighttime.
We wanted to make something a little bit more dancier and happier, given, people are staying indoors. We wanted to bring some of that party to people's houses. That was kind of the idea of Cafe PM, is like, we can't go to clubs, we can't go to, the bars and the lounges, so we should bring that to people's homes so that they can celebrate it on their own, right?
Yeah.
So in this track, it's called Dice in the Rear View. And what's happening here is it's people, they're in a car and they're driving to the first spot on a long night of bar hopping. So what we kind of started off with here is kind of building that soundscape, right? And as you can see, we have a shit ton of FX files. So this is well, actually, let me take a step back. So we organized this into 4 or 5 instrument racks here. And as you can see, there's like about 48 tracks on here. There's some that we're not using. But if I go into the sound effects one first, we found a lot of either sound effects from, either Annie was able to record some or just find them online through Splice. Yeah, we do. I do some of my own. I have a Tascam recorder that I use. But it depends. I could probably find some of the ones that we use. But for the most part, we either just look for some royalty-free sounds to kind of build that atmosphere. So if I hit play here, let me know if you guys can hear it. It's probably pretty low. But what we found here is we wanted to go for a car sound right here, right? So there's car rating. And then the beginning is like tuning the radio. So we added a little bit of that there. And then the first thing that comes in is really this electric piano right here. So for this, it's basically just a regular electric piano, but we added a lot of distortion and also vibrato to it to kind of give it a little bit
VST
more
is
of a
that?
flavor. So this is just stock Logic electric
Okay.
piano.
got it.
But we wanted to add, kind of that like
Swag it out.
yeah, a little bit of that, and to kind of layer it on, we added a pad in there too, right here. So this is just, you'll hear this in a lot of Mr. Hong tracks, is this pad right here. Is this loud enough? Do you guys want me to turn it up?
Very
Kick it
subtle.
up.
Turn it up a little bit.
Kick it up
Yeah.
a few
All
notches.
right, for sure.
Yeah.
This is my favorite pad on Logic. What we do is we go on Alchemy. There's a Gentle Sine Bells preset, and then we turn up the attack hella here. If I turn the attack down here, I'll show you what it sounds like. So it just sounds like a bell.
Nice.
But we want to turn that attack all the way up, make it nice and flow a little bit right there. And then from there, we added a bass line right here. And I think for this one, we kind of started by just building this key part, like this loop right here. So from there, we also added some drums in there.
Ooh, that knocks, dude.
Yeah, this right here is my favorite percussion right here. And then we added, kick, snare, all that stuff. We even have some more percussion here too. Just a little bit of like a crash and a swell here that comes up. And then lastly, adding the sound effects in there. Very subtle, it's probably hard to tell, but then we add back that car sound in there. And this is kind of like just the first part or the entrance into, we're in someone's car, you can kind of hear the light jingling of someone's car keys in the background, right? You can hear that rain, right?
I love all your ambient sounds, dude. Like, kill it.
Matt, do you know Galimatius by any chance?
Yeah, love him.
Dude, his mixes, I think, like, probably one of the standout people for me that like is really good at kind of creating like cinematic mixes. I don't know if that's even a term, but
very epic.
Yeah, like there's all these kind of like white noise and narratives happening, and then it goes into a song, and it's just like, whoa, next thing you know, you're kind of like staring at the ceiling, like maybe through the ceiling. Outer body experience.
I would say he's definitely a huge influence, especially his last project, I would say. And even the stuff he did with Alina Baraz, I think that kind of like very ethereal, right? Like it feels just very like this was recorded in a concert hall, like super open, right? But yet her vocals still like lay over very like, not subtly, but it sounds like she's like speaking right in your ear, right?
Yes.
But he lets everything kind of breathe a little bit, and so I love that kind of vibe. Obviously, I'm definitely nowhere near as talented in terms of mixing. We sent these over to a mixer by the name of Andre. Yeah,
you guys are mixing?
So for this project, we had two people mixing. We had Chris Classic over at Classic Studios in Chicago. He manages like Smino and Monte Booker. Nice. He did all of our mixing for the tracks with vocals. And then the tracks without vocals, so Dice in the Rear View, as well as the 10th track, Hold the Elevator, our friend Andre Araman from Australia, so someone that Annie knows, did the mixing for that.
Got it.
And the mastering, so they both did it.
How does that work though? So you just get it to where like you just like kind of like to pass it off? Like once we have the arrangement ready, what we usually do is we'll bounce a reference track, so the mixer kind of has an idea as to where we want the song to go, and then we kind of just shoot out the stems, right? And then Chris, what he was able to do, he did such a great job too. What he did was that he just took all the stems, kind of trying to match it to the reference, make sure that there weren't any like clipping or anything nasty like that. And he was a huge help in mixing vocals because I can't mix vocals for shit. And so he was helpful for like getting, to make sure that there weren't like that it sits right on like all the instrumentals and everything.
The vocal sounds so good on the project, man. Like,
oh yeah, well shout out to Chris on that one, because that was totally him, as well as our vocalist for all the work that they put on there.
I have Chris bookmarked right now in my mind to work with in the future. Like we've talked a little bit, but it's like he lives in Chicago, so it's a little hard to figure some stuff out, especially if like shooting wise, figuring that out.
Totally. So I'll keep playing a little bit more of this track. I'll show you. There's a part here where kind of the car door opens, right? Because now they're parking the car, and now they're heading into the first part for the night. So I'll just start by playing from here. And we have this lead going on here that's doing that. I forgot to turn this one on, but it's fine. And then we just have just a stock sax on here. That's kind of just playing right there. But yeah, this is kind of how we started off the album. We just wanted to have an instrumental track to kick things off as well as to end things. And then we had vocals for track 2 through 9, which I'm going to jump through some of them to kind of just show what the project looks like. Yeah, but usually this is how you'll see it for all of them, that we kind of have it bucketed up by, we keep the drums separate, mix them separately, have them different. The instruments kind of sit together. If there's any additional like percussion or any kind of sound effects, right? Like, we have, I don't know how many of these are, like 12 different tracks for, the rain atmosphere, the car,
Nice.
restaurant ambiance as they come in, right? All this stuff for the, the car braking to the key going into the ignition. Here, like right here. Oh. All that stuff. I love that. Key lock sound. For those, we just dropped some reverb on them to make it seem a little bit more larger.
Did you record that, or did you
more
pull that
decay.
from somewhere?
We pulled these. So these ones I think were all pulled because I don't got a car brake that sounds like this.
Yeah.
I also don't have a car that locks like that with that, signature sound.
Is that like a BMW sound or something?
I don't know.
That's like the sports car alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, it sounds like some like either like, I don't know, like a Mazda
Audi?
or like a, yeah. I just think of, it's definitely a sports car, like an early 90s or like early 2000s sports car. Don't know, actually. I'm sure we can look it up and find out. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for Dice in the Rear View, how we wanted to kick things off.
Nice.
Definitely a lot different than a lot of the other projects that, if we talking about lo-fi, it's definitely not, I wouldn't consider it, but we wanted to give it more of an introduction since the first track after this is kind of like a bossa nova Spanish kind of trappy beat.
That's my vibe.
Yeah, so we were trying to go there.
Matt,
Yep.
I wanted to ask, who is kind of responsible for what when you work with pastel?
Sorry, what was that question? One more time?
Who's responsible for what when you work with pastel?
Yeah, so with Annie, she tends to do a lot of the instrumentation. So I think for this one, she does a lot of the ideation. So like she came up with these chords right here. And then I helped out with like building out either it's a pad to kind of give it a little bit more lush of a sound. Drums and percussion I usually take the handle of, and then we kind of just switch on and off. Like for the next track I can show here, this one, Distance, which is one of my favorites. My girlfriend's favorite track from the album, so it's also my favorite. For this one,
Distance is dope, dude. I also really liked First Round at a Roomie. Like, where did that name come from?
A Roomie is a restaurant in Barcelona.
Not a roommate.
As when you go out, definitely check out a Roommate.
shit.
They got fire paella.
Oh my god.
Nice.
It's awesome, dude. Yeah. So that's where the name of that one came
Got
from.
it.
Is like fresh from our trip. That's like what it reminded us of. Is like, well, obviously Annie wasn't there, but when my girlfriend and I were in Barcelona, like, the first, you get a nice like base of food, right? But it's like, there's live music playing, the sangria is flowing, it's just a
The
good vibe.
jamon.
Yeah, jamon.
Hamon.
Oh, that jamon. Dude, all right, well, time to move to Barcelona.
Yeah.
All right,
Guys,
so
we're missing out, man.
Time to move to Europe, bro.
honestly,
What are we
I
doing?
mean, free healthcare. All right. So, Dan, to answer your question, so we swapped off a lot for this one. I can't remember entirely, but I know for this one, I did do the drums for this. A lot of the arrangement too of the track, I'll kind of chip it and kind of do the first pass of it, but we work real collaboratively. So usually I work on, the atmosphere, drums, if there's a bass line or some sort of arrangement. Then Annie comes in and brings, the instruments, right? She kind of comes up with the initial melodies, but we switch off and we work pretty easily. I mean, with Splice, this is not a product placement or an ad for them, but honestly, Splice makes it so easy for us to just, send ideas back and forth and then test them out.
Nice.
Should get
Here, your
sponsored by
promo code.
Splice. Or just
Yeah,
hit up,
promo code Hong15 for 15% off.
Hey.
Yeah, I'll see. Well, Splice, can you hear me?
You, can,
All right.
you should hit them up and be like, yo, can I be y'all's ambassador? Like, I work with a lot of artists.
Real. Yeah, so this is track 3 on Cafe PM. And although this says trumpets right here, this isn't trumpets, this is piano. So initially, actually, we created a version where this melody right here, which I'll play right here,
Those are trumpets?
those are going to be trumpets, yeah.
Damn,
But
that
we
was
like the
very
piano a lot better because it just seemed, well, actually, I think it was a mistake because first, the VST that we're using for this is Spitfire Audio Labs. This is also free. We're the kings of free here. I think Annie uses some machine, some contact VSTs, but I usually just use what's stock and what's available, and then like to change the sounds a little bit.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, we use Spitfire Audio for this piano here.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yep. And then for the bells here, bells again, I think this is the same pad that we use, right? With that high
Signature.
attack, right?
It's wavy, bro.
Yep. So we got some
What?
of that. On top of that, we add our bass with the piano too. So very low bass here. So we have a deep sub, but then we also have the sine bass. This is what makes it bounce. You know, shout out DJ Bounce. But here, this is where we got inspired a lot by like, have you guys ever played like Donkey Kong in the 90s?
The N64?
Donkey Kong Country on like the Game
SNES.
Boy
I've
or something. It's like some
I don't think I
old school one. Aquatic Ambiance is this track that we're talking about
Oh,
here.
nice.
But
Nintendo and aquatic kind of vibes, like they nailed it, dude.
yeah. So like that kind of like classic like 8-bit kind of feel of that bass right there.
Nice.
Oh.
I feel it.
So when we put this all together, I'm just gonna get this. We have some bells also on here. Yeah, let's start from here. And then the final piece is we added, here's all of our drums right here from 20 to 27.
Sango. Bye.
Yeah, of course, we had to add the Sango Baile. Let me just solo that track. Whoops, wrong one. That's a maracas.
There it
Hey,
is.
this is in here?
Yeah, it's kind of subtle. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but here, I'll
little
just play
texture.
all of the
Wow, I
work
cannot
here.
believe there's a single ballet. Whoa. Yeah, this is a remix right here, Matt.
Yeah.
This is a remix waiting to happen. Holy shit.
We really just wanted the
That's
claps
so
in the back.
faint. Oh, you just want the claps.
We just wanted the clap. We didn't want the guy to go boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, all that. Yeah.
That's a remix though. You got a remix instant.
Yeah. And then for our FX on this one, let's see what we got. Here, let me see. So yeah, so this is a bar scene. So we have like this bar. This is definitely a free sound. And then as well as these wine glasses kind of clinking randomly in the background.
Oh man, that's a fucking vibe.
Nice.
And then this is a vocal track. So, well, one thing less is also our friend Alberto down. Shout out to Alberto in Chile, who I work with a lot. He is an
Chile?
incredible saxophonist. So he actually comes in and does some live sax towards the end.
How did you meet that guy?
All through IG, I think.
Wow.
IG DMs, something like that. Yeah, a while back. He did a lot of the sax work on Vacation,
Ooh.
as well as piano. He's talented as hell. And then on this, we also had vocals, right? So our friend, shout out to Carlton Carvalho out in Georgia. I met him also through IGDMs, through our friend Lucas Mandelbaum. So he's a great lyricist, great rapper. And this is kind of how we put the track together. I'll play a little bit of it. Let me see.
You got East Coast, West Coast, Chile.
Yeah, everywhere.
South.
This is Australia.
South North, you're gonna get Santa Claus next.
Yeah, Australia, Chile, Yeah, California and Georgia all in one track. And then if you count
Jeez.
Chicago
Global.
for Chris, because he,
Oh yeah.
you know, he did the mixing and
mixed it.
mastering. So there's,
A real
it's a huge global project
collaboration. Yeah.
here. So I'll skip ahead right here too.
Hey, yeah. You make the roughest time seem smooth. I need your love like I need food. And if the world outside should be doomed, at least I'm stuck inside with you. I'd rather be stuck inside with you, bump and grind with you, one more time with you. It's a blessing in disguise, ooh. It's a blessing in disguise, ooh. You a blessing from the sky, it's true. Good food, good mood. I'm cool with the fam, making jams while we stuck inside. Take time, make time for your mind, you'll be fine. And you find it ain't a crime being stuck inside. In a time where we grind, never mind what we lose by design. Chasing dollar signs, trying to climb when the most precious things we can find slip by. So appreciate mine while we stuck inside.
So I'll also explain. So this song, actually, we created it first for a Pharrell contest. He was doing an I Am Other and SoundCloud contest.
Oh shit.
But we didn't win. So we decided to kind of table it and save it for later. But the original name of the song is called Stuck Inside. And reason being is we made this right towards the beginning of quarantine. Right. And Carlton's lyrics that he's talking about here is really just about, you know, even though we're stuck inside, we can't really do much, that like, at least I have you, right? And we can like do things on our own, right?
Yeah.
The idea is that at this point in the story of the album, you're at a house party, right? Of course, you can't have a house party right now, but like you're at a house party that inevitably gets shut down for too much loud noise.
Yeah.
Right. So towards the end of the track, right, we have the sax come in.
You a blessing from the sky, it's true. It's a blessing in disguise, you a blessing from the sky, it's true. It's a blessing in disguise, you a blessing from the sky, it's true.
Oi! I live across the hall. Can you keep it down? I'm trying to be boring.
Yeah.
So
that sounded
the
like
best.
it sounded like it was at my actual door, dude. for a
Yo,
moment.
bro,
I was
that's
like, what?
so good.
yeah,
Guy had a British guy.
That's actually an Australian guy. That's
Australian.
Annie's brother, who came in with the oi.
Oi, oi, Mike.
And the
Oi.
here's the inspiration for it is we wanted to pull this clip
Could you keep it down? I'm trying to be boring.
from SpongeBob, but we figure let's get an actual person here. And this is actually Jen M, the YouTuber, who's telling people to, hey, get the door here. So Jen M actually helped us out for this album as well. She contributed some of the audio in the background to, you know, kind of tell our story and, you know, move the plot forward. It's really super subtle, but if you want to hear it, she just says,
Hey, get the door.
she says, hey, get the door, right?
hear that.
And then from here, we go from this like really, you know, dancey song. Now that someone is telling you to you know, quiet down and shut up, we have a lo-fi part that we bring in that just takes this original song and turns it into a lo-fi version. So let me go from right here.
Oi! I live across the hall. Can you keep it down? I'm trying to be boring.
You make the roughest time seem smooth. I need your love like I need food. And if the world outside should be doomed, at least I'm stuck inside with you. I'd rather be stuck inside with you, bump and grind with you, one more time with you. It's a blessing in disguise, ooh. It's a blessing in disguise, who knew? You a blessing from the sky, it's true.
Yep. So this is definitely, I think, in terms of arrangement, it's our most complicated one because we tell a complete story here of a house party getting shut down.
I like the journey.
Yeah, but this is track 3 on Cabby PM. Any questions on this one?
I do have a comment.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that for like the dance section. Like I think most people would kind of like resort to like K-Tornado's kind of sounds, but you decided to go with some Moombahton patterns, and I hella fuck with that, dude. That's really amazing.
Yeah, for this.
It also felt like
specifically
that
this one
kicked
right
up
here.
like the you know, if you were like running away from the party, like if a party was getting shut down and you're like everyone's
Hopping
like,
through the fence and
dispersing, it was
stuff.
like, let's go, everybody, get the fuck out right now. Like that's the kind of feeling I got from that.
For real.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Moombahton.
that's what we were trying to go for a little bit too. Well, this one is like you're at the end. There's a part, I don't know if I've included it in this one, but there's a part where Jen Im says like, "Is this lift for Jen?" Right? Because she's like eating the party because like you got to get the hell out.
Yeah.
This is
I don't know if it's
Coast
included in this one. Yeah, but you just got to dip. That's the idea too. Is like we wanted to quiet down the party for a little bit, and then it just kind of dies out once that first angry neighbor comes in.
Yeah,
Just
man.
like, all right, we gotta keep it
Dude.
all right.
I was like DJing a homie's Halloween party last year, and I brought my rockets there, right? And then the
Dude.
cops came at like 1:30 or 2, and then all my I was a group of friends. They're like, "Belinda, we're leaving right now." I'm like, "All my shit's here." It's like, just pack it up and like put it in his room and like leave. And I'm like, I had to like leave my rockets at my friend's room.
You and your rockets, dude. Oh my god, it's like
It's like a gift and a curse.
yeah, I know. I mean, they're rockets, so I mean, I can't blame you because those sound fantastic. But like,
Those were my first purchase as an assistant editor up in Seattle when I was like working on Hoarders and shit. Like that was like my first big paycheck. Like I spent $500 on those speakers. Like,
wow,
that
they've
was
traveled the world.
yeah.
Matt, I do have a general kind of question. I want to hear from your kind of side about kind of creative blocks. I know kind of even, especially when you work with other people, there's some kind of like expectation that kind of goes on in regards to whether it be like deadlines or kind of like, you know, satisfying one another in regards to what you guys are producing. Can you kind of share with us maybe like a moment where like maybe potentially this has been like really frustrating for you to like maybe kind of like try to see through what you're trying to do in the first place? Just any kind of blocks that you went through and like kind of like help but share with us like how you kind of navigated through that.
Yeah, well, I'll say first and foremost, I think Annie is probably one of the best collaborators that I've worked with because I think we vibe very well with each other, right? And like, for example, Cafe PM, we were trying to release it probably in like early November, right? And then again, we kept delaying it because we wanted to do more with it, right? We wanted to add vocalists to it, right? Some vocalists came in at the 11th hour and like sent over their masters and everything. So I'd say that for creative blocks specifically, I find the best way to get out of them, like if I feel like I'm not, you know, very creative or I can't make anything, that's usually when I'll like ask what other people are working on, right? Like and just get a, you know, a listen and an ear as to what it is that they're working on. And, you know, I think now there's a lot of people who are, you know, either through, you know, a Discord server or through even on Reddit, like there's r/making hip hop or r/we are the music makers, where people are sending in like unfinished demos and all sorts of things that kind of help me at least hear, you know, something that I normally wouldn't listen to. Like recently I've been getting into a lot more indie music, right? And indie pop and like more of that bedroom pop kind of sound. So that's what's always been helpful for me is like I use those opportunities of a creative block to listen to something that I wouldn't listen to normally or try and make something that I wouldn't make normally, right? Like I think the problem with my creative blocks is I try to recreate something that I've already made in the past, right? Like, oh, I have this one specific vibe that I really liked in this one track. I'm gonna go try and do it for another song, right? And try and make a whole project around it. But sometimes that can't be the most fruitful way to produce for me. So what I'll try and do is I'll be a little bit more explorative, go into, you know, other genres, talk to, you know, just talking to friends and seeing what they're up to is always helpful. Not necessarily to add something to what they've created, but just to hear what they've been working on has been really helpful. And then last but not least, I mean, I used to do this a lot, but not that much recently. Sometimes I would just go to a record store and just, you know, purchase a couple vinyls, right? A couple records, listen to stuff, get inspired that way. Because for me, most of the time it's not necessarily like actually putting things into Logic that's the hard part. It's getting that idea first and foremost, right? And that's usually where the block is versus like any sort of technical limitation I'm feeling on the software side. So
you need to feel inspired.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would say for me. And inspiration comes and takes many different forms, from your friends and family to actual records, or from people that you've never heard of before. There's this actually kind of interesting Spotify playlist or Spotify feature that you can use where you can play songs that no one has ever heard before.
Oh, I need to peep that.
I will tell you though that like majority of it is like it's
trash.
You gotta sift through it. I'm not gonna call it trash, but it's
There's
like
a reason why no one's heard it.
Yeah, for real. So
but you might find some gems in there.
Yeah, you might find something crazy in there. Like I got recently into this rabbit hole of like 60s psychedelic Chinese rock, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Right, this is like stuff my dad probably was listening to when he was a kid, right? And I was like, well, I don't know.
Was it Cantonese or Mandarin?
No, it was like Mandarin, straight up Mandarin.
Oh,
so I was like, holy
shit.
fuck, like this is some crazy stuff that you can just find on Spotify, right? There's a lot of things out there that have helped keep me inspired.
I love it. While we're still on the topic of process, I think a kind of common thing that a lot of us may kind of go through sometimes is like when you're, really burnt out, whether it be like meeting a project deadline or just like coming up with the next idea. Has there ever been times where you've kind of experienced doubt in terms of where you're going in regards to your creative direction? And during those times, like what has helped you kind of like get back on track?
Yeah, I think one thing too specifically is with this latest album, as you can tell, there's not very much lo-fi elements in it. We might use like some of the some effects from it, and in this track specifically, we drew out a lo-fi part because it fit the story. But a majority of this album, I think, is pretty like R&B style, right? More hip hop, a little bit more harder, more dancier, uplifting. And so I think I try to stay away from the fact of thinking that I'm deviating from what my brand is or what I've made in the past. I look at it as like a progression. That I'm taking lo-fi and the pieces that I like from it that were, very important for me in 2017 in my sound and in 2018, but changing it to how I'm feeling now, because this is how I'm feeling inside is, I want to dance, I want to party, I want to kick it, right? Like these are all things that I'm feeling, and that reflects in the music that I'm making. And, slowly and surely, like, how people say like, I miss, old Kanye, like I'm slowly realizing like, and like kind of sympathizing for him, right? Like he could pull out like 6 more late registrations. No one's knocking that. He could totally do that. Right. Yeah. But I think at some point it's also on the artist side is like, not to make it sound selfish, but if they're not enjoying the art that they're making, then is it worth it for them? Yeah. Like, and so I could totally like, I think I'd be okay making another lo-fi album or like going back to that sort of sound, but I don't think that's inherently my style anymore and the kind of music that I want to make in the future. I might go back to it, but for me, I think that this is a more accurate representation of how my music is, how I am, how the Mr. Hong experience should be, is that this is kind of the I don't want to call it like a wake-up call, but this is how I'm feeling right now and how the direction that my music's going. So that's at least the way that I look at it, is like I don't think I'm deviating that much from my creative brand or how I'm feeling there, but more so the next step, right? And how am I feeling there?
Yeah, no, really well said, because I feel like it's really natural for any of us to kind of like, for lack of better words, we kind of get bored with like a style that we may be kind of be recognized for, right? And then like as soon as you start exploring, you know, if done kind of like incorrectly, may kind of like work against you, where like you might kind of alienate yourself towards your audience, you know. Like I understand that we're kind of putting out work, you know, more so for ourselves, you know, but we still take care of like the people who care about us too, you know. So it's like a whole kind of art in itself to kind of like weave these two narratives together, to be able to, you know, have it feel seamless, you know. I know this is super random, but I was just watching like a video essay on Batman Beyond, and during the early stages of Batman Beyond, like during that time, like the Batman series was super poppin', the Superman series was super poppin', and then when they got proposed Batman Beyond, they were hella concerned that it wouldn't resonate with the original fans because now Batman's a teenager. But the one thing that they were able to kind of like connect those two audiences, the new and the old, was that for in Batman Beyond, the actor for Bruce Wayne was the original voice actor for the older Batmans. But that was the key thing that let their audience kind of believe like, okay, like this is a new direction, but there's some kind of familiarity here. So it just made me kind of think about that, because yeah, creative direction is really kind of scary sometimes, you know, like you're kind of scared of like limiting yourself into one kind of box, but we know that especially as artists, like we're capable of a lot more, and we're curious people, you know, we want to explore a lot more too. So I think you really kind of nailed it with what you just mentioned earlier of like, this is just how I'm feeling right now, you know.
Yeah, I don't think that there's one right answer, right? I think there's a lot of right answers for people, right? I think this is what makes me feel good about the music that I'm making.
Yeah.
I mean, that's at the end of the day, kind of my goal is, if I'm looking towards music as kind of that stress relief, you know, that therapy, but also a chance for me to kind of write down and like memorialize how I'm feeling, right? And like, you know exactly like, okay, in 2020, right, at the very beginning of quarantine, this is the song that reminds me of that feeling, right? That it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's like the government was the one that shut down the party, but that's kind of how it feels, right? And it's not their fault, right? Like that's totally the right decision, right? I'm not trying to get into that right now, but that's how it feels, right? It's like there were so many things that we were doing at the beginning of the year, get shut down, but it's going to be okay, right? And things are going to be all right, right? And we can make something to remember what it was like, you know, for me at least, what I was experiencing in April.
Yeah. Let's dive back into the process though real fast. Yeah. So what else you got
across the hole?
Oops, sorry.
Across the hole.
You got for us?
I'm trying to be boring.
All right. Yeah, I got three things. Okay, so let me pull up. I could pull up the track with Naji. I like this one too.
Oh yeah, that one's dope. There was like another.
That's the right one? Nope, that's not the right one. As you can also tell, speaking of process, I don't name any of these tracks correctly, so
I'm looking at them right now. I'm always curious to see how people name their tracks, their projects.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at mine, some Pepsi Max.
Is that what you're drinking?
No, that's what Annie was drinking at the time.
That's what you saw visually. I was like, I need a word.
Elevator song, rain song, underwater, Wednesday feeling good.
Nice.
Let's see what else we got. Okay, these are actually pretty tame. Sometimes I just have ones that are just called like lol or like fuck or some other shit. Hold on, let me see. I don't got them here, but chill guitar melody. Yeah, just a bunch. But yeah,
just
they always
bunch of moods.
Yep. So this is track 4. Yeah, this is the one right after Distance. So when Distance is over, it's like you're out of the house party, you're back, you know, partying somewhere else, right? And this one, we used a Chinese guitar for it, and I thought this was Annie's decision to put a Chinese guitar in it. And I think it's actually pretty interesting because we pulled off having a Chinese guitar but making it sound a little Spanish. And here, I'll play this part right here. And I think what really helps to make it sound Spanish is we have these clicks right here. So I'll just play these clicks and the guitar right there. Yeah, so again, kind of continuing the theme of like bossa nova and, you know, like flamenco a little bit of, you know, kind of trying to make it a little bit more Spanish feeling. But from there we added, like these basses, very similar to the bass structure that we did for Distance. But, a little bit more of that, Spanish bounce right there. We have a piano going on here. Let me turn this down a little bit. Then we got an accordion. And these clappers right here. Again, with the clapping, we love adding claps. And I'll actually just for the effects here though, we have crickets, as well as kind of this cafe ambience that's kind of on all the time. Yeah, then strings come in here. Here we have a riser kind of coming up.
This saucy as fuck, dude.
Yeah. And a fun fact, this vocal kind of high right here. This high right here is sampled from Animal Crossing.
What?
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's what's his name? The fuck is the guy who owns the city
Tom
called?
Nook.
Tom Nook. Yeah, I think it's Tom Nook or something.
Moving vibe, Casablanca. I could make you say, Besame. Maybe not, I don't know. It's not up to me at all.
Then we added a sax right here too. There is an 808 on here, but it's very subtle because we wanted kind of this bass right here to kind of shine a little bit more, but here I'll...
Well, that's like some 808 heartbreak drum.
Yeah. And then actually, fun fact, Naji was like basically the first person to send us back vocals, so he's a fucking fast worker.
I remember we were talking about this over dinner at Farmhouse, where you're like, yeah, I've been trying to get him on a track, I don't know what's going on.
Oh yeah, that was like that was a long ass time ago too, but I'm so glad that it came together now, because there was an old track that we released on Midnight, so that must have been early 2019. But I'm glad it just all worked out, right? Like, I think just the timelines didn't match up. But for this one, it worked like a charm, and it was great to finally get him on a track with us.
Finally.
Yeah. Not much else to this track. I do really like this one too. The name Pineapple Express, it's not about weed. It's not about marijuana.
Not Seth Rogen.
Not about the movie. It was actually, we kind of fucked it up because, we were trying to find a name of like a drink or of a cocktail specifically from Brazil. Pineapple Express is actually, I think, a name of a cocktail. There were a couple other choices that we were going for, but we kind of just like the name Pineapple Express, though, to be honest. And it's kind of open to interpretation because it could be, either a quick smoke sesh, right? Or it could be going out and just...
Yeah, Thai dish, pineapple fried rice.
Yeah, pineapple fried rice. Sign me up, dude. Actually, I'm like kind of fiending on some pineapple fried rice now, actually. But yeah, this song, I really like also the breakdown that we have here. It's real simple, right? We have an outro piano here, even though this says Chinese moon guitar, don't ignore that. Just a kick, and this drum, this Udu drum loop. This is a stock Logic loop, so nothing real special there. But this kind of just ends it, and Jen Im saying, "Let's eat." But then it kind of just plays out until we get into the next track.
Oh, good to go. I mean, are you hungry? Because I'm hungry.
Yeah, let's eat.
Yeah, man. So we're
That clap,
using,
man, it hits. It hits.
Yeah, this is this one right here. Yeah, we love that one.
God, what?
We use like this is like very
The
trappy
sound
hats
design
right
on
here.
your tracks are just fucking next level, dude. Like,
Thank you.
Stay curious,
It's-
man.
yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Keep
what it
adding
is.
in those
is we-
ambient sounds. Those,
I mean, this
those
one-
car locks, you know, those.
Hell yeah. That's how I'm looking forward to music now. Is like, how can I actually like, more so just the music too, but like adding sound effects and more so building that atmosphere. I think that's definitely where my sound design is going, right? This one is pretty simple, right? We don't have that many effects going on here, right? Yeah, but that's pretty much it for this track. Shout out to Naji, as you know, Annie as well for this track as well. I thought it would also be good if I just went through like a lo-fi project that I might have, because obviously I think a lot of the things from Cafe PM are pretty different, right? More dancey. They kind of blend a lot of different genres together. But to be fair, I don't know if I have like a more generic lo-fi track either, right? Like if there's one specific track, or is there anything that you guys want to see and maybe I could try opening up project file?
Last Call. I like Last Call. On the,
Right. Well, we're gonna have to play. We're gonna have to play.
Be swift on it.
Too slow, man.
Hold on. Now we can. Okay, Last Call. Here, hold up. Let me.
Or what did you want to suggest, Dan?
No, I was gonna look it up because like, he has so many tracks.
Give me 1 second, because this is actually good, because like I don't know the exact. Again, with the naming, Annie and I, we have this photo that basically like translates our project name to the actual song title, because we don't remember what the project name of Last Call is.
I just bought you a subscription to us, by the way. You just subscribed to your
You
one.
got a bunch of subscriptions right now.
I'm just throwing out money.
Hey, gotta
see.
do it when I can.
All right, hold up. All right, I'm just gonna go for it. Let's see.
Go for it, look
We
for it.
open. We just do roulette right quick. Hold on, actually,
Oh, shit.
let me.
You can't even
Rhythm
find
roulette.
it?
Oh no, I should be able to find it. Here, this is
okay.
how we
You
do
just
it.
gotta go through them. Yeah.
I just gotta figure out which one it is. All right,
Matt,
let's play a game though. Can you guess which one it is?
Huh? I see
Guess
it.
you with it. Oh.
Wait, where is it?
Hold on, I think it's.
Name different.
I think it's this one.
Yeah.
It was originally called Sunset?
Yep,
Interesting.
we'll find out.
Matt, while that's opening, I really wanted to ask about your collaboration with Summer Soul on Midnight. She is a K-indie artist that I've been kind of like listening to a lot as of late. No, actually,
Yeah?
probably since early last year, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, her sounds fucking amazing, and I wanted to ask how that happened.
Yeah, so it actually started from another track that we worked on together, and actually I just asked her if I could remix a track that she made,
Which one?
and it's this one right here.
Oh yeah, this one's a classic.
Here, this is an old school jam.
You could probably turn it up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I remember this one.
You can hear the Mr. Hong's signature pad come in a couple seconds.
And your words are so far. You are, yeah. And your words are so far. You are, yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh, man, that's
I
so,
worked.
yeah,
this
that
was
one
a
was, I
long.
remember that's a good. That's a really good one, dude.
Yeah, it was a good song too. It got featured in an Urban Outfitters ad, which was pretty exciting for us. That was like the
What?
first big check that I got from music.
Holy shit!
Nice.
Wait, how much did Urban pay you for that?
Oh,
have
it
to
was
answer
like
that.
NDA.
I mean, it was okay.
You
Well,
have
I could say it was a K, but then I split it with Summer Soul with
Nice.
her,
Oh.
as well as Zach, who did kind of the distribution for this track. So I didn't release the song. It was released through Pill Society. If I can find out where the fuck it is. So that's actually how I met Summer Soul. Is we just started working on music together because of here it is. Oh, actually, someone did a remix of it. Damn, I didn't even know. Okay,
Johnny Deep.
Johnny Deep, dude. Yeah,
You ever heard it before?
No, I haven't. Well,
Oh
Let's
shit!
listen
This
to it.
track has 104,000 plays on it.
let's see what's going on here. Dude, do you guys see this
Wait,
artwork
hold on.
right here? Though?
Oh
Holy
my
shit.
god!
That's our man,
Okay.
Oh my
Holy
god.
shit! What
Why?
does it sound like?
Johnny Deep.
All right,
I'm so
let's see.
curious.
Oh, because that's his thing. I guess, yeah.
All right, let's just go. Okay, it sounds pretty similar.
What did he do?
Oh, he added a bass kick.
That's it?
That's it. Sorry, that's a knock on it.
I mean, it just sounds like a bass drum. A little bit of song. He got a little bit of bass. Oh, okay, filtering it.
Okay.
Not bad.
There's some knock to it. There's some knock.
He made it more
There's some bounce.
bass heavy.
There's some
Feature
bounce
bass
in
to
there.
More of an edit.
Not a remix, an edit. Yeah, well, so that's how I met Summer Soul, and then
Wow.
That's
we worked on a
awesome.
couple songs actually. So if you could believe it, Just a Little was actually first a remix of Balance from 3 Days
Oh,
Off.
what?
Oh.
So let me see if I have that version. Yeah, okay, so I have the version with Summer Soul. So she was originally going to be over this track on 3 Days Off, but then I kind of just we remade the song with City Girl, who's also a really popular producer. Shout out City Girl.
She does lo-fi too, right?
It's he and his name
Oh,
is
it's a he.
Woodrow. I
My
might
bad.
be
That's
blasting
confusing.
him, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
No,
Woody, if I'm saying
I
something.
I recognize his cover arts, and like there's a couple songs that I like too, but
Wait, it's a guy?
hey, aesthetic.
All right. I don't want to be the one who like outed him or anything, but yeah,
We're already live.
yeah, it's over. Sorry, Woody, my bad.
Oh shit.
Crazy.
Just a little bit, just a little bit of you. I wanna take and steal it from you. You can smile a bit, so I can remember this moment. I won't forget any seconds of you. I don't know what if we're standing alone. Could you imagine you and I? Or you don't imagine you and I don't know what if we're standing alone. Could you imagine you and I? Or you don't imagine you and I?
Yeah, so we took that
Wow.
song and then
Flag.
made Just a Little out of it.
Her vocals are fucking amazing, dude. Like,
See if I can pull that up. And it's completely different now. It's we basically made a new song out of it.
Just a little bit, just a little bit of you. I wanna take and steal it from you. You can smile a bit, so I can remember this moment. I won't forget any seconds of you. I don't know what if we're standing alone. Could you imagine you and I, or you don't imagine you and I? I don't know what if we're standing alone. Could you imagine you and I, or you don't imagine you and I?
Nice.
Yeah, so that was the evolution of that track.
I think
But
I love this version too. Don't get me wrong, definitely. But like the stripped like raw like just acoustic like her vocals too. It sounds like either way she sounds great.
yeah, I think this one that you that came out with the album when I heard it on Midnight like sounded like pretty close to Summer Soul's sound, right? It's usually like this like psychedelic kind of like indie kind of vibe, and you really nailed it on this one, man.
She doesn't need it
Thank
though.
you.
She's like T-Pain, man. Like she could actually sing. Like you don't need
Yeah.
to put effects on her.
for real.
Sounds
Yeah, so
Could hear
Yeah,
that
so-
on the show.
I mean, for her, yeah, actually, I've worked with a few K indie artists too. Like Rosie's another one that I've worked on a couple tracks with.
Nice.
I don't know. I actually am a big fan. I mean, granted, I think people also think based on my name that I am Korean because Hong can be a Korean last name, but I'm Chinese.
Yeah.
So I think that also gives me some points when I work
Some
with
leverage.
Korean people because they think I'm Korean, or they'll message me in Korean and I'll be like,
What?
turning to like one of my friends who speaks Korean. Shout out to Haley because she usually is the one who translates for me to like talk to people in Korean and like But yeah, I do really dig the sound.
Nice. I want to give you an opportunity, Matt, to kind of close up any kind of.
We didn't even get to
thoughts,
look at just.
anything.
Oh, we didn't even get to. Like,
Oh yeah, my bad. I have it open
dude,
here.
Let's go in.
I think this is it. Hold on, let me see. Let me just skip it. Oh yeah, it is.
Nice.
Okay, so this one is actually a different version. So we created a different version for it for the instrumental album that we just dropped. So Cafe PM, the first one is mostly vocal, but we just dropped a version of it that's complete instrumental, right? So if you got finals to cram, or like some people just like enjoying to listen to the instrumentals. So what Annie did is she re-recorded the guitar part of this track. So we can play the version that's the one on Cafe PM with all the vocals and everything on here, but just know that there's a lot of guitars on here. I did not clean up this file really, but we can take a look.
It's okay.
The vocals here, I have them all muted right now, but shout out to Madian as well as Alibi for doing the vocals on this track.
But you didn't keep them, or?
Oh no, we did keep them.
Oh, okay.
So they're here
Okay.
and they're on the album, but
Got it.
we'll just work on. Actually, we could just keep it in here.
Yeah.
So Madian actually wrote a majority of the song, and then Alibi's just kind of doing
Okay.
the vocals on here. So here, let's make these tracks a little smaller. There we go.
Nice.
Okay. Let me. So let's see. Actually, I'll turn the vocals off for now and just kind of explain the instrumental a little bit. So you have these guitars going on and this keys right here. Wait, hold up. Something's not right. Oh wait. Oh yeah. So here. And then the first thing that comes in should come as no surprise.
The
It's the
pad.
signature pad that comes in right here. right here with this side bass.
It's like the sub going off.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, man.
That's fat.
Oh,
And then our signature pads
sweat.
right here.
Sweat.
We got a shaker coming in, and then the drums come in here. Oh yeah, I'm gonna turn this off. Sorry. Bring in the vocals in here. So Madian does the verse right here.
That I don't trust. I kept digging for the truth with my mental shove. I can see through them eyes, some on your tongue. You know I like to brain some, come give me some. Before we go play, make sure your homework done. Yeah. You feel me?
These are all unmixed. I apologize to the artist actually. I don't know if they want me to play the version where it's not mixed. So I'll keep that off. All right.
Raw vocals.
Sorry, Austin. No, it's fine. It sounds good. So in this one, actually, as you can see, there's a track here that says cooking steak and one that says Asian restaurant. So reason being is we want it to be like, you know, kind of when it's so late at night, right? You got to end the night with like a late night bite, right? You got to eat something for sure, right? Whether it's a street dog, whether it's like, you know, I don't know what else is like a 24/7 diner, you need to eat something. So that's kind of the play that we had in this breakdown is, you know, just grabbing something to eat. And then Austin kills it here. He also sent us vocals like pretty late and he was able to work super fast. So really appreciate you, Austin, for getting your vocals on here.
Why you taking your time, girl? All I need is one time, 1 hour, one phone call away. So let's start from the bottom, girl, don't run away, yeah. I know you're scared, but the truth is I'd be scared too. Yeah, I remember when we hung out in the old days. We were stuck.
And one of my favorite parts actually of the entire album is right here. It's when this one loop right here, I really like. I told Annie about this. There's just this like, it's shakers, but then there's also this like water sloshing sound that kind of comes in and out. So you'll. Yeah, but I mean, for this track, we started it with the guitar, and yeah, it was called Sunset before. In fact, if I try to open up my SoundCloud, there's probably a version of it that's called like
Sunset.
Yeah, called Sunset before we changed the name of it.
Damn.
Let's see, Sunset Loop. What's this? Nope, that's not it. That's something I liked.
Or I might not be up there.
Yeah, actually, I might have taken it down, unfortunately.
Not Petite Biscuit. Oh, that's a fire track. Sunset
yeah, that is a
Lover.
great track. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Thanks.
Nice.
That's amazing.
But I'm happy to show anything else. I mean, my workflow is pretty much like this. We kind of just work together. It's really about creating the atmosphere first. And then from there, we can kind of arrange and work through things. But hopefully that was helpful to people that were watching.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
Sick, bro.
That's super awesome.
All right, should I take this down or what should I do?
Yeah.
Well, did you end up coming up with a keynote or a little presentation of past work?
Not really. I'll be completely honest. I don't. I'm not like Ida. All right. I'm not that much of an overachiever. Can't be like her.
No problem, bro. But
I guess we could just like revisit, a timeline.
Yeah, for our third hour, it's mainly pretty similar to what you're doing right now and talking about your process, but rather than process is more so kind of like if there's any stories you want to share from your past projects that you believe like you want to kind of like shed a little light on, like anything like amazing that happened or anything crazy like during any of your like during your discography. Just an opportunity for you to discuss any of these projects that you feel like deserves the love.
Sure. I think kind of the thing that I've learned a lot this year and I think would be helpful to kind of tell people too is with music nowadays and the fact of digital and kind of this transformation into the digital world, I think the most important thing is to just try and get as much music out there as you're comfortable with. And the reason that I say this is there are a lot of times in my journey that a song that I released like 2 or 3 years ago gets something, either some placement or something happens to it or it blows up or something along those lines. If that's your goal, right? It depends on what your goal is with music. But that something like that will happen by any chance of luck, right? So I think it's just important to kind of just work on your craft and be courageous enough to try and make music heard, right? Not too worried too much about, this doesn't sound perfect or it doesn't sound 100%. But for me, what was the most helpful was just getting a body of work out there, right? Releasing a project, even though I knew to myself, oh, I probably could have mixed this better. I could have added a specific instrument here. I could have done something differently, but really just appreciating it, even if I felt at times that it was unfinished. That was really helpful. So like, for example, Bittersweet Chocolate, right? Again, this is my, by far, I think one of my most popular songs, right?
Yeah, maybe we should open up that file. You got that file?
Probably not. That's from 2017, and this is probably not on this computer.
Yeah.
But again, like that one, I bring it up time and time again because there are things that when I listen to it, I think like, oh, I should have added this, right? I should have turned down the vinyl static a little bit in this part, right? In my track Home, I have some issues with the way that I uploaded the track to begin with, right? Like I didn't like how in certain parts of it you can actually hear I didn't loop there's like a very slight recording hum in the background, and I wanted to keep a little bit of it, but I didn't loop it correctly, so there's like a period of silence, then you hear it just randomly start all over again.
Shit.
Next time you listen to it, try and look out for it.
Nice.
But I think it's knowing and being aware of those imperfections and still realizing that even though it doesn't sound like it was 100% complete, but just being okay with it and aware with it and just at least being proud of the fact that you were able to get something like 98, 99% of the way there, right? Because I think that's one thing that friends will come up to me and say like, oh, I've been working on this one track for like 3-6 months, right? And they share it with me and it's amazing, right? But they feel like there's something missing, right? Or there's something that stops them from wanting to release it when that's what they want to do, right? They want to release the song, but they're afraid because they just started out and they're afraid that, either people are not going to like it or it's not going to be well received or no one's going to hear it, things like that. I would just try and caution and say, just pull the trigger. Yeah, like I think there's times like the very first project I did was in 2015 for Cult Classic Records called Colors. And that one I had some thoughts about like, oh shit, this is going to be the first project I ever release under this name, right?
Yeah.
And knowing that, thinking that it's going to affect me 100%, but think of it, music can always be taken down, right? You can always revise things. The important thing is just getting out there, feeling fearless about it, right? And just trying to keep that going. Because I think, as we all know, music gets very much controlled by algorithms on like digital streaming platforms.
Yeah.
But you just got to remember at the end of the day that if it's something that you enjoy the process of doing, right, that you should just keep on doing it, because music is something that is meant to be shared, right? Whether it's to just yourself or to an entire audience. that's part of the experience for me, is to be able to know that other people are listening to it and enjoying it and telling and sharing their stories and their memories about, you know, what my music brings out for them, right? So that's, I think, is what's important. It's just, you know, just create, right? I think that's kind of the theme of this whole conversation that I've been having with y'all. Is I think the most important thing is to just try things out, create things, right? Don't be afraid to change, and if your inspirations change too, that's okay too, right? That's all a part of the process. I'm definitely, you know, when people ask, do you think art is the process or the final product? I'm definitely a process guy. I think it's all the steps that you need to take to get to that product, right? I don't think you can't just look at the product, because to a lot of people, they won't know the times, the hours, you know, the sacrifices you had to make, right? All the things that went into making that piece of art, I think, is much more important than what the actual ending piece is, right?
Yeah, like you have like collaborators from like different time zones on one track, you know, like multiple people, like that's a lot to have to organize, you know, but you got it done, right? Because it's part of the process, and like you have to just look at the challenges as like, these are here for me to grow and learn from, and I'm only going to become better when I go through these steps, right?
Exactly. So I can kind of walk through. I mean, I think I talked a lot about how my sound has changed. Lo-fi was definitely how my music was in 2017. But I think since then, especially with Midnight, I think Midnight was kind of the changing point for me, is I also wanted to kind of break away from the lo-fi scene. I think it was getting a little oversaturated. Everyone and their mom was like, you know, making something out of lo-fi. And although I don't knock the fact that it was definitely the root of my music, right, was that boom bap, you know, soulful and jazzy type of music, it's still very much part of the DNA of the music that I make today. But I like mixing it up, right? I want to add some trap drums, right? I want to put some Spanish flair to it. You know, I want to add a little bit of bass and, you know, do something a little bit differently to the music, because I think that's just how my progression has changed since, you know, 2017, when I started really getting into releasing projects.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. I did actually wanted to ask, like, this actually sounds like a perfect segue to kind of like talk about like what you're currently into. Can I ask, like, what is currently on Mr. Hong's rotation in terms of what music are you listening to as of late?
All right, let's take a look. So other than that 60s Chinese
psychedelic,
whatever it was, yeah, psychedelic rock. Well, let's see. This is gonna be really all right. So apparently, I was listening to some Gucci Mane earlier today.
You know, Gucci Mane.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost, this is like my favorite Christmas album is right there, right? It's Atlanta Santa. All right, but I just had this one playlist that I've just been kind of growing since 2018, it seems, of tracks that I've been enjoying. Let's see what's at the very bottom. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this Masego track, which I didn't know Sam Galatry actually produced it.
Oh, what?
Which is crazy.
Wait, it was just released, or no?
That was November last year.
Oh no, November this year. Yeah, produced by
I see.
Sam G, Wonder Girl.
Whoa.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a crazy lineup. But yeah, I've been listening to a lot of that. My girlfriend's been putting me on to a lot more indie. So I've been listening to like
another bittersweet track in there.
Oh yeah, right.
You're really on the bittersweet theme here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm totally.
Hey, Maya though.
She's fire. I love her.
Amazing.
2 is like probably one of my most listened to tracks. Electric Guest, I've been really enjoying their production, as well as, you know, they're a little bit more, I don't know what to call them, like synth pop. Getting into more like soul too. Of course, Mac
like
Miller Circles I was really into.
On this thing.
Yeah, there's a lot. Krangbin.
That Flight 99 track is dope.
Ooh, that's my favorite.
That was
I fucking love the Flight. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I gotta talk to you guys off air about something regarding that track later. And then let's see, if I go to my actual liked songs. All right, there we go. There's
some Chinese shit. Chinese.
How do you say that?
Matt, you better send me some of those.
Yeah, I'm gonna what?
This one says like, I'm gonna
search for
when I wait for you to return.
Oh.
Yeah. This one is from a movie. These are both from movies. Let's see if I can actually play.
Can we get a sample?
Yeah, let's see.
What do you got going?
It's hard to tell if the ship has sailed, but maybe you felt the same as well. The smell of summer and clementines. There you are. You're the perfect rhyme. So many nights took me back to when those kids, they were just around the bend. Our hearts are scattering with the dandelions. So
I'll be honest, the first time I heard this song, I thought she was singing in Chinese.
Whoa, what instrument is that?
In the background,
Yeah.
that's like some like distorted ass.
Like,
Someone's going crazy with the wheel.
Yeah, it sounds like a key.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear like.
They're just, yeah.
You said that's from the 60s?
This one, I don't think so, but let's see.
I heard the vocals on that one is pretty fire.
It might actually be a 2017.
Oh,
okay.
About to say some futuristic 60s
Yeah, some
music.
future shit.
Sometimes you can stumble upon something that's old, but it sounds new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I love how you sprinkle a bunch of your own tracks in there too.
You have to.
Oh yeah. Well, I have to like my own stuff, dude.
Yeah, you made the music for you to listen to.
You gotta feed the algorithm.
Yeah.
That's the trick. Dude, I spent like most of last night like rewatching my videos on YouTube, and that got me motivated. I was like, fuck, I need to release shit. Like,
You might sometimes you'll feel bad about yourself because you're like, fuck, I used to be dope.
That's what the
You're
last
still
night was
dope.
about too. I was
Everyone's
like,
still
I hope I
dope.
didn't lose it. I don't think I did, but yeah.
Yeah, I do that. I do sometimes listen to old tracks that I made like back in high school, and I'm like, wow. I use like the exact same loop for every track, like the same drum pattern. So it all sounds like the exact same, but yeah, as you can see, I got a lot of my own music on here.
Duke Ellington, some John Coltrane,
Yeah,
some
Duke
jazz,
Ellington,
some Master Brown,
some Earth Gang just randomly showing up there.
Fucking love it. Lucky Day.
Janae Aiko.
Yeah, yes.
Everyone's favorite heartbreak.
Oh my god.
Oh, let's talk about boom bap a little bit, if you don't mind, Matt.
Yeah, no problem.
I know, like,
This is
for fans like us, you know, for Dilla fans and specifically, I've kind of realized that a lot of people have like different favorite beats from him. Are there any kind of off top that you recall that you feel like has been sleeping on? Because like he has hella unreleased shit that some of us like come across here and there.
I just love. Well, I think it's more so it's the Dilla beat as well as Common, but like anything from B, like especially It's Your World Part 1 and 2, that's like I would listen to that all the time in high school, just like driving anywhere. I love that track so much. The part where, you know, like the kids are saying what they want to be, right? His dad giving spoken word at the end, like the whole track is just incredible. And I try to stray away from replicating the Dilla sound as much as I can, right? Of, you know, kind of the little offbeat, but the rhythmic hats, right? But that track off top is like, I'll go back to it, forget about it, and then get back to it. And then it just comes back in the rotation like for a whole week or a month.
I had to pull it
It's
up
just
for
so good.
myself. I'm like playing in the background right now. It's Your World, Common, right? Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, part 1 and 2
Oh
is
my
so
God.
good.
And have you?
I love this album. Fuck, it's so. Yeah.
B is so good.
Have you heard his Dilla's "Feeling Good"?
I don't think so.
Unreleased song. I'm gonna put this in the Switch chat right now, but I feel this one is hella slept on from Dilla. It's never been released, and the only audio recording was from a video at that time.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
What is it,
crazy.
someone like put it together?
Yeah,
track?
some guy like, I had clips of it, and it's like, why don't you drop it?
Do you guys have you guys listened to DJ Dexstream before?
Yes. Oh my God. We're talking about like Japanese producers, right?
Yeah, Dexstream. Oh my God.
He.
R.I.P. to him, but holy hell, his discography too.
Oh my
I'll
God.
like get back to it, and it'll blow my mind.
Bringing back.
He's got that one song Creeper. He's got that one song Creeper that I've always been trying to like figure out how to do that sound,
Is that
but
what,
just can't.
Sorry.
Oh, what was that, Matt? Okay. Oh.
What was that?
Was that? Oh no, I was just
yeah.
saying. There's one song by DJ Dexstream called Creeper. That or Creep. I don't remember. But yeah, that one. It's like the example of what a perfect beat is to me.
Damn. Have you heard of Emancipator by any chance?
Emancipator? Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're talking around. I feel like you and I had a very kind of similar listening pattern during the times, because I feel like if you get into Ujabes, you get into like Yumada Hiroto, and then you get into like.
Oh my God. Oh yes.
That guy.
I forgot.
Insane.
A Son of the Sun, dude. And that
Insane.
whole One Dream. I will play that on repeat. My Island actually by Nujabes featuring Uyama Hiroto and.
Wind Speaks is really good too.
That one, oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I think like one of my all-time favorite Common tracks is Misunderstood. You know, that's like from Finding Forever, dude. Like that's my fucking jam.
Common had a lot of like interesting tracks. Like I think he was playing around, very similar to like I felt like Nas was kind of doing the same thing with like Rewind and One Mic. Those kind of songs that had a nice concept. I think, yeah, like I think of Common just doing like he redid what was that song? I Used to Love Her, but he did like a reprise of it, right, for his
more recent
album.
one?
Yeah.
Called Her Love with like Daniels.
Damn.
Just stuff like
Common,
that.
dude. Common's probably my favorite rapper outside of like Mac Miller.
Wow.
Like
Ooh,
I would
bold
say
statement.
like Mac Miller, Common,
solid.
Big Sean, like.
Common had
Sorry.
good producers around him.
He did.
Yeah, he had Early Ye. He had
Early.
Yeah, dude.
he had Pharrell.
Early Ye.
Q-Tip
bro.
and all them.
Holy shit,
Mhm.
man. Yeah.
Soul Aquarius.
I have a hot take.
Yeah.
I
What's
think,
up? Go for it.
I think J. Cole's verse over the B beat is a lot better than Common's.
What?
I never heard that before.
Sacrilegious.
I have not heard.
I love B. I love that
I think
track.
J. Cole's verse is hella better than that, dude.
What? You think J. Cole's verse is
Yeah.
better? Wait, which track did he do a cover
Wait,
of?
of
What
the
fuck are you
beat
talking
intro,
about?
like
Yeah,
The instrumental.
that one.
Yeah, Cole did a verse. It was on his one of
Mixtape?
Is it Sideline Story?
Any Given Sundays. No, it was one of the mixtapes that he was dropping before Sideline Story
Oh,
came
okay.
out.
I just found it.
Yeah,
Fuck, I need to listen to this now.
yeah, you guys do.
Oh my god.
Any Given Sunday.
Well, I do love some
I
early
don't
J.
know,
Cole.
man.
Yeah,
I do too.
Friday Night Lights. I
was
loved.
Huge. He's the one who actually like was heavy in my rotation during my final years at college. Dude, I was like in the library, just like pounding away. I was doing accounting, man. I was doing fucking accounting. But yeah, Cole, Kendrick, I think those two were probably like the biggest in my rotations for just getting out of college.
It was a
I don't
time.
remember which comment or which
but-
J. Cole track was hella fire.
Yeah.
Which J. Cole track? Ooh.
There was like a
Three-
older one.
There was one on one of his three. Was it Three Dreams? That one I really like over the Jake One beat. That was
Okay,
kind of
wait,
like
Crunch Time.
Jake
Crunch
Uno.
Time and Rise Above.
Rise Above was great.
Yeah, Rise Above is fire. That's like
love-
off the mixtape.
Yeah. Too Deep for the intro. I like too.
Ooh, that's my
we
favorite too.
Flip that air, flip that Badu.
Jay-Z.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was Badu, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that Badu. Didn't you know? Or yeah.
That. Nobody's perfect.
I'm kind of the beat is banging.
Yeah.
The beat is banging, and I kind of wish Missy had like done like a verse or something. Yeah. Other than just the hook.
She came out of nowhere, like, because he got her on there. Or was that sampled, or was she actually on there?
No, she was actually on there. She was even in the music video.
Oh, word.
But,
but that song samples like. Wait, what does it sample? Does it sample Missy too?
I think so. Because it had that bounce, like that almost Timbaland kind of bounce.
Damn, how does Google? No, the first time I Google it, it's like the first thing.
Nobody's
right there.
perfect.
Yeah, they already knew J. Cole, everything.
They can hear us. You can.
Yeah.
They really are
right
listening. They're gonna give us some J. Cole Dilla ads later.
I'm down.
Splice pack.
I'd rather get that than I've been getting targeted with like flight stuff or like travel shit. Like all the time, and I feel like it's just like they're rubbing it in our faces. They're like, you can go to LA for like $20 round trip.
49.
I was like, fuck this. Like,
did you have any actual travel plans that you were trying to do this year? Had COVID not happened?
Yeah, so I was gonna go to the UK for the first time in June, and then I was actually going to be down in LA for this month. So we were going to rent out a house in downtown LA and just like, hang out.
Oh, hang out.
Yeah, just, take it easy for the break. But yeah, those got moved. And then I was going to go to Hawaii in November too. So, I mean, there was a lot of travel planned for this year, but
that's why those ads were attacking you. They knew.
They fucking knew. God damn.
They knew you were trying to get out.
Yeah. Although we've been loving just like, experiencing more of the Bay Area. I think that's been good. It's like,
it's a recommendation.
Even being here for so long, like I've probably only been to Half Moon Bay a handful of times, or like, explored Marin a handful of times. So now we've been
check
doing
out Sonoma County.
Yeah, go to Sea Ranch. Go hit up Sea Ranch or Burnville or something. I'll bring rockets too. It's the only thing I'll pack.
When it's safe, we gotta like do a little house party, man. Like we got bangers among all of us, I'm sure.
I had the lineup crazy. Good to go crazy.
Oh my God, dude. I'll try to get Miles to pull up too.
There's gonna be a flyer.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah, we'll make our own flyer for our own house party.
Yeah.
For sure.
Dude, speaking about like checking out like recent Bay Area places, like my girlfriend brought me to Big Sur for my first time like 2 weeks ago, and like it's epic, dude. Like I had no idea. Okay, first and foremost, I had no idea I really like mountains. I don't know why. Like just driving along that coastline, like the sheer scale.
Do you like cliffs?
I need to put myself in context.
That's a dig on my shit right now.
Cause I'm not scared of heights, but it's also depending on the situation. I'm like being threatened, like is Matt behind me with a gun and like, hey, you gotta do something real quick.
You gotta jump.
Am I driving?
But Big Sur is super amazing, and I think what kind of like COVID is like kind of doing to us right now, at least for us who kind of need these like and sources of inspiration, has been kind of like, rather than like looking outside, like way outside the city, has been kind of like more focused on like appreciating what we have around us. Even like it's crazy that you mentioned that your relationship with your parents have gotten better too, because like I think mine has also improved also. Like I'm helping them out a lot more frequently over the phone with their technical issues on a more frequent scale.
I mean, you've been doing that though. I don't know.
No,
what you're
but
talking
more
about.
frequently. Like it's almost
more
like,
frequently.
Yeah. So like having my parents call me, it's pretty nice. Like I don't see them a lot.
Yeah.
And it's very fulfilling. Like granted, I still have those moments like fuck, like my mom's calling me again. But yeah, I do have moments where like I'll be thinking of my mom, and all of a sudden like she shoots me a call or she shoots me a text, and it's like, oh, just how are you doing? I'm like,
Yeah, it's sometimes though. Like I remember my dad would only call, or my parents would only call me if it was like something real serious,
An emergency.
So you'd be like, "Oh shit, what the fuck's going on?" Right?
Holding your breath.
Yeah, and then now it's like when they call me, it's like, "Oh, what's up?" There was like one time I bought like a beer draft machine for my dad. Right?
What?
So
He's a beer guy.
yeah, he likes beer, he likes wine. So he called me, and this was back when I was like, this is back probably earlier in quarantine, and then I was like, oh shit, my dad has not called me ever. Like, does he have COVID? Like, what the fuck happened? And then he called me and he's like, hey, how do you set this thing up? How do you set up this beer? And it was like 3 PM, and he was just like, I just need to find a way to get this beer working. That was it. It wasn't anything serious. But then after that, it like kind of just made it lighter, like
more casual.
They call up, yeah. It's like it's not the end of the world, right? It's that they probably just have some like tiny thing. Yeah, exactly. Or they're just trying to chat, catch up.
That's awesome.
So it's been nice. Yeah.
That's silver lining. Yeah.
Have you ever showed your music to your parents? Do they know about like?
Oh yeah, they're into it.
I feel like out of most music producers I know, you're like the safest that I can imagine like sharing your music to your parents.
That's amazing.
Because he's like, huh?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I did.
It's not like you're like a bunch of swearing or like you got like chill stuff. Like,
yeah. So they've been very supportive, I'd say. Like they tell all my cousins and like uncles and aunties and back in Asia about my music, right? Like they've sent.
If you're putting
like,
out trap
records.
music, I feel like it'd be a little bit different.
Yeah, because I don't think they'd be able to get down with it. They'd probably just be like, "You got to turn that down." Like, straight up.
Trying to be boring.
My mom, that's my mom. I think my mom would want to. I don't know. I think my mom is pretty open though. I think she could get into trap. Maybe I'll show her some stuff this weekend and see.
The right drums.
You gotta massage it in, Matt.
Yeah, slowly.
It has to be a lo-fi trap.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm changing my, my sound is so that I can condition my parents by the end of the year.
808.
Yeah, they're gonna be going to raves. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah,
straight up.
But yeah, they've been really supportive. They like sharing it. I share a lot of like wins or if my music got featured on something, I'll let them know. So they've been happy about it. But they always ask like if I'm doing okay, if I'm happy about it. I think earlier on the conversations were a lot about like, is this the right kind of amount of time that you should be spending on this kind of stuff? Granted, that I think that's the same for a lot of conversations about creative passions, but I think now that not to say that I think I've reached a certain level, but they're a lot more understanding of it, right? They realize that it makes me happy and that that it is a good way for me to have a creative outlet and to stay busy and productive during this time. So yeah, it was definitely a journey, but I think they were already like pretty open parents to begin with.
Nice.
Would you ever do this full time? Like if you got to a place where like people were paying you and like you had a steady income from it, like would you ever switch over?
Yeah, so I've chatted with a lot of artists that have done that, like during COVID or before that. So like I chatted with Christian. I mean, do you guys know Kromanichi? Christian?
Yeah.
So I chatted with him a while back because he does music full time, right? And I've just been asking him like, what is that like? And he just treats it like a day job, basically, right? It's pretty much like the same as like if he was working a 9-to-5 somewhere, right? Like you're answering emails, you work on a couple tracks, right? You handle contracts, right? Very much the same. So I think at some point I would love to try it for a little bit. I think that's why I've been working, I love my job at Salesforce, but I think it's also too good of an opportunity to pass up if the right conditions may change, for music, right? So
what do you do at Salesforce, if you mind me asking?
I work in technical product marketing. So what that means is I build demos and videos,
like
kind of
POPs.
Sorry,
like POPs, like
POPs,
it probably wouldn't apply to Salesforce, like wherever, almost. Just forget I said it. I'm trying to figure out what
did you mean?
trying to remember
Yeah,
what
what's
it
a
means.
POP?
It's like a point of purchase, where it's like you know, like if some like at someone at a store, and it's with basically where they display the product on.
Oh, like a POS system? You mean like a point of sale? Point of
kind of, but it's more of like where you would showcase and like a display whatever product it is. It's different for everyone, but like,
got you. Yeah. So it's like that. So it's like we create videos that show how our product works, right? And so that's what I do for day to day is just working on, you know, demos for customers, for Dreamforce, right? For anyone who's interested in knowing what Salesforce can do from, you know, kind of a technical level, like what the product can actually do. That's kind of what I work on. And so I've been there for 3+ years now.
Wow.
Ever since I graduated. Yeah.
Nice.
Sick.
Yeah. Even like when I came out of college too, it took me 4 years plus a very lucky chance that my housemate happened to be a producer, to eventually gain the confidence to really take this like full time. It's scary. It really is scary. Like just not having that steady source of income, your lifestyle changes, you know. But similar to what Kromanichi was kind of mentioning is like it's very on point, you know. Like you wake up rather than like clocking in like in Slack or anything, you know. It's more so opening up like Logic, for example, or in my case like Photoshop. So it's very doable, man. I do want to tell you that. The early stages are probably going to be the most rockiest because that's where you're kind of establishing yourself. And money conversations are very much so like a muscle, you know. The more you kind of do it, the better you will get at it. I'm glad you were mentioning contracts because that's one of the faults that I didn't do when I first started out freelancing, that I didn't set contracts. And it's something really important that I feel really protects you as an artist too, because the expectations can like always change, you know. Like the common kind of issue that we have is like, oh, I want this changed, oh, I want that changed, you know. And then if you don't mention it early on, like, oh, I do up to 2 revisions before I start charging, or in my contract it says I'm only revise it 3 times, you know, it's gonna create this like endless cycle of like just like endless revisions per se. But aside from that, I can honestly say like I've been a lot happier than how I was 3 years ago, more so because it just might be me too, Matt, but like personally, like when I worked like in financial tech before I moved into an accounting firm, like I was just never really able to relate with my coworkers, especially in San Francisco. I'm sure you could kind of relate that the normal kind of culture with your coworkers is like you talk about sports draft and then you go to happy hour and then it's always just like, oh, how's it going? How was that project? You know, but it's
small talk.
Yeah, it's never really like, you know, like, hey, are you all right? You know, like
you listen to New Kitchen.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that conversation with any of my coworkers.
Yeah, and for me, like for the 2 different companies, or actually, 2 different companies I worked with, I just felt really alienated from my peers, you know. And although I was financially stable and actually thriving, if I can say, like my happiness, like I think like people can tell around me, you know, when you're not kind of like feeling it. So that was kind of like a really big motivating factor for me to eventually like, you know, call up my parents and like, I'm gonna try freelancing, you know. And for Chinese parents, surprisingly, they were very supportive. They were like, oh, you always got accounting if everything fails, you know. So it's like, but yeah, you know, I think it's kind of given our situation right now, I like, even if you decide to like stay, you know, with a 9 to 5 for like the next like year or 2, you know, I think it kind of makes sense right now because everything is just, I don't think it's even picking up yet. We're still kind of, you know, still in a slump. Christmas is about to come around. Like, I'm really worried about the numbers also. Belinda was just mentioning that she knows people like traveling too. Like, it's a shaky time, man.
Saw someone at the airport.
Yeah.
Swivy. Nick is at SFO. Like, he was at SFO this morning.
Wait to put someone on the spot.
Oh, calling him out, dude. This is.
I'm like, Nick, where are you going? Like,
where is
why
he
are
going?
you at the airport?
to be fair, if our friends travel, like we're not here to police them in any way, you know. But,
Yeah, they know the risks, they know the consequences, right?
Yeah.
As long as they're aware of that, that's on them. But damn, Nick, holy hell! Shout out Swivy. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Hope he's doing okay.
He's like working. I don't know where he's working at now. You know who I'm talking
Sony.
about, though.
I think he's at Sony.
Is he at Sony? He's at Sony now.
I'm pretty sure he talked about Sony. Like I saw his pretty recent IG post.
Was he at Sony or PlayStation? PlayStation?
Same thing.
Say the same thing. Sorry. Yeah.
What's he do?
I don't know.
I think it's a software engineer.
Oh shit!
For PlayStation?
I think he like went
for Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Maybe.
Damn. That's probably why he's at the airport.
Yeah, he's trying to get out of the country.
Matt, for our viewers who
I can't believe they recalled the whole game, dude. What?
Yeah, that has to be pretty bad.
Too. That's crazy. I was just gonna say.
I was watching Knowledge's live stream the other day, and he opened it up, and he was like starting to play it. I was like, oh, what is this?
Yeah, Knowledge is a big gamer too.
He's a huge gamer. Yeah.
Matt, do you play games by any chance?
Yeah, I've been playing. I do have a PC, and I've been playing some Switch games too. But
what's the PC games you play?
PC games.
I see the Steam.
I've been playing Risk of Rain 2. That's been my go-to.
The strategy?
No, it's like a FPS roguelite. So
roguelite.
Hard as hell to explain, but
yeah. For context, roguelikes are games where you basically, when you die, you start at the beginning, but that's kind of like the nature of the game. You're kind of passing like chambers per se, for lack of better words. And Hades is a really recent game that has that roguelike feature, but that's really cool if there's an FPS version of that.
Actually, no, it's not it's third person.
Oh, third
so you can
person.
see yourself, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there's that I've been playing. There's also a version of it that's kind of similar called Gunfire Reborn. It's like if Borderlands, Risk of Rain had like a kid, that'd be that game. What else? There's a game called Spelunky that I've also been playing. It's all these damn roguelikes. I don't know what it is that attracts me, because I'm god awful at all of those games.
Oh, Splunky's that meat one, that meat dude, right?
No, are you thinking of Super Meat Boy?
Dang it, wrong one.
Spelunky is like it's like a randomly generated cavern, and you need to get to the bottom, basically.
Yeah,
and there's like a shit ton of traps and stuff, and it's fucking hard.
Is it the mining? You
have like a miner hat. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
it's awful, but I've been playing that, and then on Switch, a little bit of Smash Ultimate. Yeah, but not really much. I was gonna get a PS5, or I was thinking about getting one, but
that thing looks so massive.
It's
they're like,
huge.
and they're like back ordered to like March.
Yeah, and dude, I've been seeing like, actually my favorite subreddit recently is called like "fuck the scalpers" or something, or scam the scalpers, and it's because like
and shit.
people are selling PS5s for like $1,200, $1,500 a pop, and they're like $500 retail. So like people will like purposely like message them up and say like, hey, let's meet here, and then just not show
up. Rob them.
Yeah. But not rob them. I don't think they're robbing.
Like, just to kind of piss them off.
Don't show up. You just don't show up. But then you say like, hey, I'm here. Like I'm outside. I'm in the red car. Some of them like they get like two scammers to meet up at the same place, and then they just get confused as fuck. Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna just wait it out and see, because
first generation, you never really want the first generation sometimes, you know.
I hear
that. That's true. I've learned from my Xbox days.
Oh my god, I had so many
again,
Xboxes. The red rings of death.
Yeah, red ring of death.
I wanted to really ask about like balance, right? Like it sounds like you have both your 9 to 5, you have your music, and I think for a lot of us gamers, we can sympathize that that's kind of a job itself. On top of that, we have like our relationship also going on. So Matt, how does Mr. Hong kind of balance his schedule in order like to still be able to function properly, but still have time, I guess, for leisure, for lack of better words?
Yeah, so I tend to be a morning person when I work. So usually between like the hours of like, Belinda, normally I wouldn't text you at like 4:30 in the morning, but I could usually be up at that time. So like usually I'll be working in the morning. I usually like just getting things done in the morning.
Honestly, you and Ida have like no time conception. Like Ida will like be texting me at like 1 or 2 in the morning too. Like I just had to get it out when I get it out, or else I'm not gonna remember it. I'm like, what? Like I wake up in the morning, I'm like, was this that important? I had to get this at 2 in the morning. Like,
hey, my bad. Well, you needed to know
no,
if
it's
I got
okay.
a
You
mic.
know, I don't mind though. I'm just giving you guys shit, but like I really don't mind if you
All
guys
right,
text me.
good to know.
You guys can text me at any time of the day or night.
All right, you say this now, but all right. I'm gonna hold you to it. But yeah, I tend to try and balance. I like, there's this exercise that I did with my therapist where we kind of just map out like kind of like Wheel of Fortune in a sense, but each piece of the wheel is like something that either makes you whole or makes you feel at peace, right? So for some of the wheels that I have, or the wheel that I have, a piece could be like music, a piece could be friends, family, to make sure that I'm at least hitting all of the points, right? It doesn't have to be like exact, like I need to have 5 interactions with my friends this week, or like, make 3 songs. But as long as I'm doing something that I can attribute towards a piece of that wheel, that I feel that I'm achieving, balance, right? That all pieces of the wheel are being met. So granted to say, I do tend to like to have a lot of things on my plate, so to speak. Because it just makes me feel a lot better about how I'm spending my time. I will say though, granted, given what has happened to my sister, that has made me more conscious about the way that I spend my time.
Yeah.
That something like that could happen to someone who's so healthy, right? It could happen at any time. So just being aware and grateful that, if I have, 24 hours a day, and I know that I need to spend 8 hours of it sleeping to feel at 100%, what can I do in those 16 hours that I have for the rest of the day to make me feel that this day was worth it, right? And that I'm spending my time well. But I think, again, as we say, it's a balance, right? It's a balance of knowing, not, over fixating too much on the fact that like, oh shit, I spent 1 minute on IG and now I'm never going to get that minute back. I think it's unhealthy to get into that mindset, right? But also just being aware that like, okay, what I'm doing, I'm spending this time on IG, I'm reading these stories with purpose, right? Rather than trying to think of it as empty time, so to speak. There's a quote of like, idle hands are the devil's playground. And I think it's really true, because the more idle time that you have, the more you start to, let your anxious thoughts run, you start thinking about it more, and it just becomes, another thing for you, right? So for me, I just like to keep my hands busy and, help out when I can. If I need to take a break, take a step back, pretty vocal about it too. Like, I'm taking the next 2 weeks off at work. Don't have really much plans, but I'm sure there's some music involved, some friends involved, family
Gotta do
involved.
a little bit of mixing. I gotta send you some notes.
Yeah, please send me notes for the secret event.
I know. So,
we can't talk about it here.
You mentioned something that you're talking about with your therapist about like a wheel. Can you explore, like, tell us a little more about that? I'm actually kind of curious because personally, just to kind of put my cards on the table too, like I play too much video games, let's just be honest. I recognize this is a very big problem for me, and like like my girlfriend, she has to, she's in the chat actually, but she always like, she's very patient, when she sees me she just give like a glare, but then I know it takes up a lot of my time during the day, and like I'm still actively trying to, but like it's kind of an addiction. So this maybe might be more useful.
I'm gonna start getting on you soon.
What you been playing though, Dan?
Because all I hear from you is I haven't been saying anything, because all I've been hearing is like, oh my god, I have so much Eden work. Oh my god, I got Eden work. I got last minute Eden work. So all I'm thinking is
that is
you're
actually
working
true.
on Eden work.
Hold up, when I tell you I'm actually doing Eden, that's true. But then like during the daytime, granted, I might be a little flustered because I kind of procrastinated.
Arena Legends.
Yeah, hold
Probably
up.
'cause you're
Just
playing too many games.
answer Belinda's question real quick. Like, I'm actually doing that, but then it's also because I've been procrastinating that has kind of jam-packed everything that's super last minute that makes me like end up working late. But Matt, the game I've been playing is like Arena of Valor. It's just like a MOBA game. I never thought I'd get into MOBAs. Like seeing League of Legends, I'm just like, oh, I can't deal with that shit. But then like, Unfortunately,
mobile or MOBA?
MOBA.
Oh, okay.
It's a MOBA game. Yeah,
It's mobile MOBA.
It is mobile MOBA.
Jeez, that's oh my god.
Yeah. I unfortunately stumbled across it back in I think 2018, and like periodically we play in. But then since quarantine started, I think especially like probably like 4 months ago, I started playing it a lot. So this wheel that you're mentioning sounds very appealing to me, and kind of like a useful tool that I may like want to use myself. Can you tell me a little more about that?
Yeah, so it's not super complex, and I think it's just more of a visualization of what you need to make yourself feel whole. I think, Dan, first off, like, do you feel that you're spending too much time on playing video games, or do you think it's something that you need, a little bit to feel 100%? Or you think you could completely cut it out? I think that's kind of the root of the thing first, is figuring out your relationship with video games, right?
Yeah.
For me, like, I know that I need to play a little bit because it helps me, like, like not think about some things.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an escape, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of escape. You get to play, act as someone else, simulate what it's going to be like for that. And you just get to, in the games I'm mentioning, you just get to kill a bunch of shit, right, with no consequence. So, I mean, if that's something that you need, that's, I think, what you got to figure out first.
Yeah, I think I do not need it right now. It has... mainly because I recognize my behavioral patterns. Like, although, like, I'm just very competitive. Anything with a ranked mode in a game, like, it's highly addictive for me. But I know myself where it's like, if I allow myself to play, like, sometimes, like, I think it really depends on like what's on my plate. And just as of late, especially with all the projects that we have going on with Nüfly, like, I probably, to be honest, should not be playing games right now. So yeah, maybe I'm trying cold turkey right now, personally.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if that works for you, incredible, because cold turkey is not easy for anyone. But yeah, just the wheel is the idea that, in order for a wheel to spin, you need all pieces of it, right? And if you're missing a certain piece of the wheel, that's not going to help, right? You can have everything but just miss one slice. It's kind of like that Shel Silverstein, book of the missing piece, but that's another relation to it. But if you don't have, like, for example, if you don't have the family that you need, or like the amount of time spent with family to make you feel whole, then it doesn't matter the amount of time that you're spending on other things, because you can't spin, you can't roll, right? You can't keep moving forward. So for me, the way I look at it is, more of it is more of an exploration and discovery of yourself, whether to find out what pieces are in your wheel, right?
Yeah.
What is it that makes Dan 100%? What is it that makes Dan feel the best and the happiest, right? So, like, his design work, right? Or is it, spending time with your girlfriend, with your parents, right? With friends? You kind of need all of that in order to feel some sort of balance, right? And of course, those things will always change, right? Sometimes you really get into a project and you enjoy it, but if there's still pieces of you that are missing, right, and you're not spending time or having the right experiences that you're wanting, then you're going to feel that you're missing something, right? And then that starts to kind of eat towards the rest of the wheel.
Yeah.
Right. Because, if you over rotate on one certain part, like you spend a lot more time on work, that could mean that you are kicking something out of the wheel. Right. So it's always important to keep in mind, what it is that you want to do. And of course, I think the big thing too is don't be hard on yourself too. Like, it's a wheel. Balance is super hard to get to, right? And I'm still struggling with it, right? But I think at least thinking about the wheel helps me visualize, right? Like, how am I doing today, right? Am I hitting all the things that I want to do, right? And if not, what can I do to amp up one part or remove something? But there is plenty of time, and in the same token, there's also not that much time. But it's just important of knowing if you're aware of what you're doing. That's what I would say. Are you aware of, when you log into Arena of Valor, what it is that you're getting out of it, right? Like, I just need to take a break, you de-stress, that's good. But if it gets to a point where you're like doubting yourself or realizing, like, why am I doing this amount of time? I think that's when you have to relook at what it is that makes you feel the best, right?
And like catching yourself before you like fall into a rabbit hole, right?
Yeah,
Like for me, I've been
right.
like rewatching Terrace House seasons, and like I have to give myself like a certain time limit in the day. Like, all right, I've been on the couch for like 4 hours. Like, get the fuck up. Like, get to your computer. Like, check in on someone. Like, I had like a 2-hour like Zoom call with Gerald Wufu yesterday. Like, had a little
Nice.
catch up with him.
Shout out Wufu.
Yeah, he's in Asana. He's at Asana now.
Is he
Oh,
Is
damn.
he alive? I haven't
He's
heard
alive.
from that guy at all.
I
Yeah,
know,
I have not
dude,
heard from
when I was
Gerald
catching
in a
up with him
minute.
yesterday, he was talking about this girl that was like leeching on him basically for like the last 4 months.
Oh
Still in his
shit,
beast, bro.
dude.
Air him out.
Well, he needed to get her out. Like, she was not good news. Like, I think it's fine, you know.
I see.
He was in a dark hole, so he's like in a much better place now. He got a spot in the inner Richmond. We got to catch up. But yeah, he's talking about, you know, just where he's been at like mentally. And it's a lot, man. It's a lot right now. And
Yeah. That's what you got to focus on too, is like we're in the midst of a pandemic, right? We're in the midst of like a lot of, you know, social justice issues and a lot of things, you know, for being, you know, not only just in America, but I think specifically about being Asian Americans here is there's a lot of things going on, right? And it's just being aware of that, right? And, you know, checking it and being cognizant and aware of it. And, you know, just give yourself a break, because I think that's what everyone can use a little bit more of this year is just, you know, being happy that you know, we're here and that we're, you know, there's things like this, you know, like this virtual hangout. Thank you guys so much. These 3 hours like passed by hella fast, right? Like, I'm
you
glad
think
to
it's
do
long,
this, right?
but
I was just
like
about
if
to
it's
cue,
just a
like, we should have
comfortable, yeah. When you're comfortable around people, you know, it's about creating space to have these kind of conversations and be able to
Totally.
really check in on people. You know, that's what this is.
Yeah, I might hit up Gerald after this. I haven't seen him in a hot minute.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
He's still
man.
making music, man. He got his own spot, and he's just like, yeah, I feel like there's space now. So
I mean, goddamn. I won't bring up the girl thing, but
I was just about to say.
keep that on the deal.
Yeah. Well,
this girl was bad news, man. And we talked about this even beforehand. I'm like, this girl was still around. Like, what?
oh man.
It's bad when you get to call your friends to like get their stuff out of the apartment. Like,
Yeah.
All right.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong,
definitely.
I'm saying this so that this doesn't happen to him again. Like, he needs to like, it's done. Like, don't do this again, bro. Like, you know, like he was isolating himself. It was like a form of self-sabotage. And I feel like, you know, this quarantine can push people to the edge, and they lose perspective, and they stop checking in on your friends. Like he said, he stopped talking to his friends, you know, because like,
Oh, yeah.
that's how bad it was. Like when you stop talking to your friends, bro, and you're just in that rabbit hole, and like you're not feeling great and you can't create, like that's no good.
Mm-hmm. Truth.
All right, guys. Well, Matt, you've made it to the 3rd hour, and
I love you, Gerald. I didn't mean this.
Yeah, Gerald. We're here for you.
We're saying this because we love you, or I love you.
call him and tell him that. But I want to go ahead and wrap us up. Just to be mindful of all of our times, also. Matt, just to. Oh man, we talked about a lot. I usually like to kind of like recap what we spoke, but this 3rd hour is very unique because usually like we had our guests kind of talk about past projects, but I just love that we were just able to casually chat about like random topics. But correct me where I'm wrong. For the 1st hour, you know, we spoke a lot about your journey kind of beginning. It sounded like you were put into music classes, like piano studies, basically,
piano lessons,
right?
Yep.
So you're around like 16 or 17. It sounds like you've discovered GarageBand at that time, and using that software, you kind of eventually started making some boom bap beats, which eventually over time you were introduced to anime, specifically Champloo, and I think that really kind of like, you know, it really kind of like led you down into your journey. you spoke about your first instrument being the, what was it, the AK? Was it AK?
APK Mini.
APK
Or is
Mini.
it MPK? I don't know. It's a Mini 25.
Yeah, I think
by Akai. That's all it is.
I think Jared Cleofe has that same one too. It's a pretty tiny one, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
In fact,
half
I
your
could probably-
keyboard.
I don't know if I have one with me right now,
All
but
good.
yeah.
All good.
It's a little baby one.
Yeah, but it sounded like that kind of like spiraled you into, you know, this whole kind of like new realm where you've eventually been working with pastel a lot. It sounds like you've been working with numerous musicians and artists. You had your first kind of official release with Urban Outfitters with your song With Summer Soul, not a first official release, but first check? Was that your first check?
Yeah, that was my first placement, I would say. So
nice.
Like, yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Which was nice.
Yeah, and for the second hour, you shared with us a lot of your process and also your miscellaneous titled tracks, but you were able to find them, and I personally think that's all that matters.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my gosh, it's that to talk about like organization. That's one thing that I really need to get better at.
Yeah. No, all good, man. As long as it works
like
for the artist.
Or like song 42, final 1, and then there's final 2 and final 3, final 4, final. Yeah, final.
Story of our lives.
Yeah, we can all relate on that one.
Yeah. And then for our third hour, Matt, you just gave us like a really fun conversation. I can't really like specifically recap everything we spoke about, but I'm really glad that we were able to eventually kind of come back to a topic that's centered around mental health, because not everyone really has like access to like a therapist, and I'm glad you're able to, you know, share a tip, you know, that you kind of picked up. I think will be very useful for anyone kind of watching this. So I hope someone kind of can leave with something. I'm kind of talking about me. Can leave with something that they can use like and actually apply in their daily lives. So thank you for that, Matt.
Yeah, no problem. It was nice to chat with y'all and appreciate your time today. I think this was a good chat for me too. It was very therapeutic and good to just let these things out too.
I'm glad. Hey. Matt, for this final kind of closing part, I want to give you an opportunity to plug to our viewers and into the internet what you currently have going on, if there's anything they could like look forward to, or maybe they should check out that you currently recently released, wink wink, but it's a moment to promote yourself.
Yeah, so check out Cafe PM. We put a lot of heart and soul into this project. Shout out to all the collaborators, from the people who did our artwork to the people who did our music videos to mixing, mastering, everybody who had a hand in Cafe PM. I think there's like probably 25 or 30 people that were involved across like 4 or 5 continents and a handful of time zones. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. Cafe PM instrumentals are out today, and we'll be releasing a few more things, a few more videos and a few little small things to kind of wrap up Cafe PM. But otherwise, we hope to see you at Cafe PM. That's all. We also have merch too. I'm wearing one of the shirt. Actually, this is a one-of-a-kind shirt because this one's embroidered.
Nice.
But we do have versions just like this that you can get on Redbubble. Link and all that is in our IG description.
Sweet.
We're about to like have an exclusive little peek into this video.
Oh yeah, and to tee it up, yeah, go for it. This is a music video done and shot by Ben Blenner down in Melbourne, Australia. Shout out to Ben, as well as his girlfriend Che for being on this video. Originally, we were planning on having 3 music videos shot for Cafe PM that would be outdoors and, you know, kind of in like either a lounge or a club space. But given the lockdown, that did not stop Ben. He was able to create a crazy looking cafe space in his living room. We have the behind the scenes footage of that too, which is crazy. But without further ado, I think we're wrapping up with Cafe
We also
PM
should
music
outro
video, right?
before we put the videos up too. But yeah, Ben also directed the first video that we showed in the stream as well.
Yes, at the very beginning.
And nice. He also helped shoot on that Rubik's Cube Netflix documentary.
Yeah, he was the DP for Speed Cubers. He's a really talented dude, Ben Blenner. Our heart goes out to you because you are the best. Ben Best. That's what we're going to call him from now on.
Yeah, should we outro now?
Yeah,
Dan,
for sure. Well, everyone, thank you again for joining us this Saturday afternoon. Matt, thank you for giving us your time on this Saturday afternoon. It was an absolute pleasure to host you. We're a huge fan of your work, and we're gonna continue paying attention to what you're doing. Looking forward to anything you put out, and here to help you promote also. Without further ado, guys, thank you so much for tuning in again. I am one of your 3 hosts today. My name is Daniel. You can find me on Instagram at Dakfu and also on Twitter. I'm gonna hand the microphone over to Belinda.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining everybody on this Saturday. I'm Belinda, also known as _ZenRabbit on all platforms. And yeah, it was a really enjoyable conversation. I'm really glad we got to deep dive into Matt's universe, and it was a good one. Yeah, and I pass the mic over to Kaz now.
Again, Matt, thank you for joining us this stream. I always really enjoy looking at producers' processes and stuff. But yeah, I hope everyone out there that was tuning in has a great rest of their day. But yeah, well, I'm gonna go eat these chicken and waffles. But let's go.
Yo.
Matt, do you want to give a quick outro and also where people could find you on socials?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to the Nüfly crew for hopping on and letting me share my story as well as my platform. I hope everybody has a good holidays, staying indoors, staying safe, being mindful. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Hong Music. It's the same for Facebook if people still use that. And on SoundCloud, it's Mr._Hong. But yeah, you can find Cafe PM and all of my other works at Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Deezer. I don't even know what else there is. Napster, probably.
Napster.
But yeah.
Tidal? Did you mention Tidal?
Tidal? Oh yeah, I think I'm on Tidal.
Nice.
Oh shit, you're on Tidal too?
I'm on TikTok too. Well, I'm not personally on TikTok, but my music is on TikTok, so you can feel free to use them. But let me know if you use it, or I should be able to find it. But yeah, TikTok, all that stuff. But yeah, once again, thank you to the Nüfly crew for putting me on. Appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. All right, guys. So please stay tuned. We have 2 videos for you guys, both from Matt, aka Mr. Hong. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. And thank you again. Have a great
Next week? I think we're taking
sorry.
a break, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So we're about to go on hiatus for a month until mid-January, and then we'll have a special guest when we come into the new year.
Correct. We have we just need to kind of regather our kind of structure for our live streams. But yeah, we'll be taking a break from the Saturday. I believe Belinda will still be operating Reset and Night Drive also.
We're taking a little bit of break as well. I might do a Night Drive episode of Kaz, but I think Reset is also going on a few weeks hiatus, a couple weeks.
Okay. All right, you guys heard it here first. All right, guys. Until next time, take care.
It's late, and with me you are safe. You're a little tired from the day. Hell, I can say the same. Heels making you ache, sweat all on my face. But you know you wanna stay. Yeah, you know you wanna stay. I love that moment when the strobe light grace home past your face. It's a few hours past 8. I spilled Julio all on my J's, and we sat in a car, blew an eighth of a dream, and a point it seemed that fate brought our paths here in these days. And I know we should go home, but I don't want this time to go away, cause the drinks are cold and there's not a lot of folks, and the tunes are right. And there's so much more that the night has in store, and it's dope, alright. I know it, she said she was hungry, so we going to a Coney Island, cause we joked about curly fries. And as soon as we sat down, we graced the menu for a second and burst out into laughter. I feel like I know why, but I'm guessing our vibes will sync. And I would think that all the stresses from the days before are gone for the moment. And I know it, she got a side of French toast and a medium roast with lots of cream. By the way, her name was Jamie. I was admiring her face, my God. I would never want to play facades, cause she kissed me, nah, I'm tripping a little. She put a drink in the middle of the table right next to mine. So like a movie, I touched her hand by accident. Then we started with the bantering. She said she real close to her dad. She don't really talk to her mom. She grew up with 3 brothers, and they all college grads with families, and they all live on the East Coast. And she got 4 sisters. 4 sisters? So you got like 7 siblings? That's cool. I told her about my life and what I do. She said, I don't make music, but I wanna make me a song about you. I felt that. Those dark brown eyes, how could I forget? And that smile is luminous, and I would walk for miles just to get to it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's when she invited me over.
I'm ready whenever you are. If you want to hit the next spot, I mean, like, I'm good to go. I mean, are you hungry? Because I'm hungry.
Yeah, let's eat.
너가 뭐라고 하든 난 그냥 할 거야. 내가 하고자 하는 거 그냥 할 거야. 내가 하고 싶으니까 그냥 계속 할 거야.
Polaroid.